We back. You already know what time it is.
Oh, you didn't know?
50-50.
That time.
Welcome to the 50-50 Show with PharoahNFL and the Severe Raider, the realest show for Raider Nation.
The perpetuation of the greatness of the Raiders to take a professional football team and give it a distinct characteristic that's different from all others.
Make sure to clock in, like, comment, subscribe, and hit that notification bell.
Man, you already know what time it is, man. It's the 50-50 Show. Obviously, myself, PharoahNFL, my guy, the Severe Raider. We are going live on both our channels. So if you haven't already, make sure to head over to both channels. If your first time joining us, and subscribe to both, as well as clock in, as we like to say, man. We clocking in, man. The night crew is clocking in right now. So in order for you to do so, you gotta hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. If you, like I said, if you haven't subscribed, man, you got to make sure you hit that subscribe button. And for anybody watching the replays, hey, do me a favor, man. Leave a comment. Also, hit the hype button. That's a new thing on YouTube. Hit that hype button, man. So we appreciate everybody coming through and supporting. We got a lot to talk about. It's another off-season edition of the 50-50 Show. The Raiders, they'll find a way to keep it interesting. I mean, obviously, training camp date is set. The 23rd is when the rookies report. 28th, the vets report. We'll get into that. Bech. Jack Bech is, man, I'm hoping for the best, but I know Severe is. There's an evil laugh that we all can hear.
Embracing my.
Oh, man, the night crew, man. Salute to everybody pulling up. My guy, Raider Way in the building. Was good. Appreciate you coming through. Did anyone catch that Earth, Wind, and Fire documentary on HBO, Incredible Quest? Nah, I got to check that out. Hey, HBO rarely misses, so I'm sure that's probably going to be a really good documentary. I'm gonna have to check that out. Appreciate you for letting the folks know. Moon over Miami, appreciate you pulling up, man. My guy, man, appreciate you. TK was good, man. My guy, appreciate you pulling up. Emmanuel in the building was good.
Salute.
We got everybody pulling up. My guy Yaya in the building was good, man. Appreciate you coming through. DK was good. Salute. My guy Ghetto Boy in the building, man, tapping in. Appreciate you pulling up. Man, we appreciate everybody coming through and supporting as always. Man, let's just get into it. With Raiders training camp kind of set, we've kind of briefly talked about like some of the competition battles. I mean, obviously offensive line is something that everybody's talking about. As far as, you know, what we've been seeing in OTAs and mini camps, like, you know, at right guard, we've seen kind of JPJ step away and wasn't a part of like the first team. He was on the sideline. I don't know if he was hurt. That's something to keep an eye on too as well, because the elephant in the room that no one likes to talk about is that JPJ hasn't been healthy since he's been in the NFL, and that was the reason why he dropped in the draft. Which, you know, so I remember mock drafts having him drafted in the first round. So for him to slip in the second, that was a big reason why he did. But, you know, we all know JPJ's story up until this point. He's a fan favorite, but two different coaching staffs, they're not 100% sold. They got some guys in there that can possibly compete with him. Caleb Rogers. You know, at the end of the day, I think we all can agree we just want the best five out there. So whoever that is, let's put the best five. So offensive line from the guard spots, I would think there might be some type of maybe competition at right tackle, but everything I'm hearing, it seems like Glaze is probably going to be the starting right tackle to start the season. So we'll see. I do want to see Grant in there, man. That'd be kind of dope that we were able to see him at least compete for that spot, find out what you have in him, and then you can go into next offseason knowing what you have in Glaze, what you have in Grant, and then making a decision if you're going to, you know, obviously maybe take a tackle early in the first round. But yeah, I think the offensive line is kind of a big deal. And then I guess we've talked about before on defense, you know, D tackle's kind of unsettled. what's the main rotation are we going to see out there? Is there anybody that I'm missing? We talked a little bit briefly about Darian Porter, kind of,
Yeah,
possibly
yeah,
being in competition.
yeah. You're definitely seeing competition. We've been hearing he's been losing reps with some of the rookies. The nickel, obviously, the rotation at nickel has been kind of a steady rotation of trading Stooks and Jeremy Chin kind of rotating it. Obviously, Teron Johnson as well. When he returned, getting looks there as well. So, we talked a little. We didn't get too heavy into it, but basically, like the super nickel position, where it's like the safety nickel kind of linebacker hybrid position that is kind of the stalwart of a lot of defenses, helping them kind of disguise what they ran. So those guys are all pretty adept at playing that role. So it should be interesting right there. And in terms of offensive line, yeah, I think last we heard that Grant was getting a little bit of time out there at right tackle, but I didn't hear that it was like a true competition. I just heard he was getting some looks out there.
They gave him some looks,
But
but yeah,
we did hear that Rogers. Well, we didn't even hear. They didn't say truly it was a competition at right guard. But then we did hear that Rogers, when he was out there, because once again JPJ was hurt, but in his time out there, Rogers looked good, and people were speculating, hey, he could seriously push JPJ for a starting position. If it's an open competition. So we'll see, man. Like JPJ's year 3. I think he'll have this year and next year basically, and Raiders will have to make a decision about bringing him back. So, and he hasn't been able to get settled at one spot yet, So he's been left guard, center, right guard, and now they finally settled in on him at right guard with a good offensive coaching staff, with a good offensive line coach, with a solid scheme. So we'll see what he does from here. As you said, the primary factor in JPJ is his health. So if he can't stay healthy, like they say, man, you can't help the club from the tub. So,
right.
like if you're constantly in the training room, you're constantly in the cold tub, trying to get right, trying to get back, like brother, like we drafted some young bucks on the offensive line for this very reason. And so, if you either get right or you get left.
Yeah, no, facts. And I think that we had this as a notable quotable. The offensive line coach Rick Dennison, I remember he made a point that like one of the things that he wants to make sure that they kind of figure out early on is the starting 5. Like, so he's not a guy, he doesn't want to go down to the wire as far as competition. Like, he wants a big thing about an old offensive line playing well is the chemistry, and they got to play with each other. So, pause if necessary, but I'm just saying that I feel like we'll know early on.
Chris Wilkins in trouble.
Yeah, we'll know early on, bro. We'll know early on. I think they're gonna want to settle like that starting 5 early on. Like, so far Glaze has kind of been holding down that spot right now in minicamp, but like, Clint Kubiak said, like, when the pads go on, that's a whole different story. So we'll probably know within, like, I'll say early. If Rick Dennison is talking like that and wants to get it settled as soon as possible because he wants to get, and he's an experienced veteran offensive line coach who's been there, done that, has had success. So he's going to want to figure that early. I think within the first couple of weeks, we'll probably see a more consistent 5 out there, and that's probably going to be the starting lineup week 1. And I think, guys like JPJ, we'll see at left guard. Buford has kind of been holding it down. So we'll see how that works out. To me, I'm like, hey, Rogers at left guard, I wouldn't be mad at that. And then you have JPJ at the other guard spot. And then but we'll see. They'll figure it out. And I think underrated storyline is like, how are they going to incorporate the running backs, the Mike Washingtons of the world, Dylan Lobby? I know like Dylan Lobby is fighting for his, spot on the team. But one thing that people forget is that he plays special teams. So if he's able to prove that to this coaching staff, which is a different coaching staff that didn't draft him, I'm sure he's gonna hang on. And I'm thinking maybe, I don't know. Mike Washington is a rookie, and he's had fumbling issues in college. So now like he's gonna have to prove to his coaching staff that he can clean that up, as well as show that he's capable of like having a role behind Genty. So it's gonna be interesting to see is the running back rotation, how they figure that out, because we know that the Raiders' identity is gonna be running the football, and then like a little bit of like how are they gonna incorporate the offense? Who's gonna be the guy that steps up outside of of uh of Brock Bowers in the receiving game? That's what I want to figure out. But we won't know that in like training camp per se, but we'll probably hear some things, like who's gonna have the most chemistry with a Kirk Cousins or maybe Mendoza. Who knows? But like it feels like Cousins is gonna be the starter week 1. Unless like Mendoza comes in and just like, man, is lights out from day 1.
Yeah.
Then that's a whole different story. And then kind of Cousins kind of shits the bed too. A combination of
that too. I mean, right now we've been hearing that Mendoza's been running with the threes, and from most accounts, Aiden O'Connell has been the best looking quarterback out there through this early part of camp. But he's in the comfort zone in terms of knowing the players, knowing the facility, kind of having a routine already. I'm sure, just in terms of, hey, I live here. I get to the facility at this time. I go through this. I go through all of that stuff because he's at home right now, right? This is his own home element. He's not really having to adjust to anything new outside of a few new players, obviously a new coaching staff. But for a guy like Kirk and obviously Fernando, it's everything is new for them, right? It's new living situation, new coaching staff, new players, new facilities, like new uniforms, everything, right? So it's much more of a transition for those guys. Where Aiden O'Connell, we all know like he generally does well in this part of the offseason, regardless, and he's kind of picking up where he left off. Like just about every offseason he's been with the Raiders. So it's gonna be interesting to see. Just in terms of running game, man, like we got to establish that early because that's because looking at this receiver core does not inspire confidence. So like week 1, we got the Dolphins. Like we need to go for like 200 some yards in that game on the ground. Like just establish it, let them know off the bat. Like we plan to run the ball, we plan to run it well and run it consistently, and we're going to stick to it. And we have some capable backs back there, whether it be Genty, Mike Washington. Obviously, he has all the tools and traits that you look for in running back. And then whether it be either Hemby or Dylan Lobby,
I forgot about him.
Dylan,
Yeah.
Yeah, obviously Hemby's probably the better like runner of the football. Dylan Lobby would be the better guy in terms of catching the football, and he's also really good in pass rotation as well. So his contributions to special teams, like that's all going to play a factor. And I don't know how many backs we're going to carry because we got we got oh, bro, got my man's a Dolphins fan. Sorry, bro. We got
we play y'all week 1, man. That's gonna be good, man.
We gotta do it, man. We gotta do it because look, it's not like the Dolphins have no fantastic run defense, right? Even though they got Jeff Hafley, who's a defensive minded head coach, still like it's the X's and O's and it's the Jesse and the Joes, and I think Hafley is gonna he's gonna take care of the X's and the O's. But I don't think they got the talent yet, man. So we gotta impose our will, man. And we drafted a running back at 6 last year. We bringing in a new offensive line coach. We paid premium price for the best center in the league. We brought in another guy from a playoff team last year in the 49ers to play interior. We got JPJ, who's a 2nd round pick, highly regarded prospect as well in the interior also. So like we got tools and we got coaches. So, and what we don't have is perimeter weapons, so like, we got to establish the run. And week 1 is that's like when we got to make our statement, like that game right there.
So this is why I kind of like talked about earlier about the offensive line and Rick Dennison basically emphasizing is figuring out who's the starting 5. Like we need to figure out that 5 because he knows that like the more they play together, the more chemistry they're going to have and better they're going to play. So, and especially that goes hand in hand in what you're talking about, the run game. So if they're still, because it's also a new system too. Yeah, outside zone system is a completely different offense, so they got to be able to like be on the same page. If they're going to be able to run the football, like you said, week 1, then that means they're gonna have to figure that out early in training camp, early on. If they probably right now.
Yeah, facts.
Like,
Facts.
and then
training camp starts July 23rd, so got a month away.
Yeah.
Point.
So we'll see how that shakes out. I'm kind of like, but I'm gonna. Another thing that I think I mentioned briefly was Darian Porter and how that situation is kind of like McCoy. We don't know how much he's gonna play. He's on a pitch count.
Yeah,
they have a plan for him. Whatever that plan is he gonna be a starter? You know, on the outside, week 1, the talent, of course, talent wise, it's, you know, you got your starting corners already set, and McCoy being the starter as far as talent, but then we don't know if he's gonna play as a starter week 1. He might come in here and there and have him play, but I'm not sure if he's gonna be a starter. That being said, Darian Porter, who was the guy that the Raiders drafted in the 3rd round, but in a different type of defense, different coaching staff. You got to factor that in, and then you got Hezekiah Masses, who I guess impressed the team enough where they took out Darian Porter and put Masses in there. But you know, Clint Kubiak, you know, specifically at Masses when he was asked about it, he's like, "Hey, you look good, but we'll see how it looks like if he can keep up that physicality once the pads go on." You know what I mean? So we'll see. That's a big one, but like. You talk about the run game. And because the pass game is kind of like, all right, Brock Bowers, and then who else? You know what I mean? Like we don't know. So that's why I'm like, who's gonna be that guy that steps up? Jalen Naylor is a guy that they signed, not to a huge contract, but big enough where you're like, this is a guy that we don't really know too much. I mean, he was the third wheel in Minnesota, which was not, it's not a bad thing because there was super talented guys ahead of him, but he was able to like be, I want to say productive, but like he made some plays here and there where he showed like, all right, this is a Raiders organization that probably did their due diligence where they're like, hey, we're going to take a bet on a young player and give him some change, give him some money. Not a huge outward like crazy contract, but we're gonna see if he could be a guy that they can count on. That's Jalen Naylor's a guy. Trey Tucker, you know, Clint Kubiak and the coaching staff. It seems like they might be able to make it happen with Trey Tucker. We'll see. Trey Tucker's a guy too out that can compete for that number 2 spot. And another guy that I've been like tough on is Michael Mayer. He's a possibility. So if you're talking about running the football, you're talking about 12 personnel, you're talking about Brock Bowers, then Michael Mayer is going to be in there. Hey, he could be another option. With this, is this the year that a coaching staff can unlock Michael Mayer? We've been saying it his whole career, but we haven't really seen it. We've seen maybe one game. I think one game last year, it was probably his best game of his career. He had like 8 catches for 80-some yards when Bowers was out, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, to me, it's like figuring out
flashes, but nothing consistent.
Yeah, but I agree with you. The Raiders are going to have to establish their own game, and they're going to have to be good at it to give them a chance. Especially for all the people that want to see Mendoza out there, because that's the reason why I think that's probably a big reason why Mendoza is not going to be out there early on, is because they have all these question marks, and they need to figure this out. They need to figure out who's going to be the starting offensive line, starting 5. We know Linderbaum is boom, and he's going to be the starter. Cole Miller for sure. Looks like Lay's going to be starting on the right tackle. It's just the 2 guard spots where you're like, I don't know. They got to figure that out, and also they need to establish a run game. Then they need to establish the hierarchy. Bowers, and then who? What does it look like after him? Still, all these are question marks, which leads to, okay, Mendoza, just take your time, take mental notes, take mental reps, let Kirk Cousins deal with the chaos, and then once they get that settled, then you could see like a Mendoza coming in, especially if the Raiders lose, like, they lose a few games and they're like, all right, well, it's time to get the rookie in there. Kind of like what they did with Jackson's Dart.
Yeah. Go and get your Kieran Crawford on and take those mental reps.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, because with the offensive line, you think about that unit is different than most other units, because most other units you will say, hey, I want the best 5 out there. But with the offensive line, it's not necessarily even like the best 5 guys out there. It's the best unit of 5. So it may not even be like the most talented guys out there. It should be the guys that fit together the best or complement each other the best. And then when you got basically 2 pillars in Colton Miller and Tyler Linderbaum, then you kind of fit guys around them. What are guys that we have that complement those guys well, and you kind of build out from there. So, and it remains to be seen, right? Obviously, Burford on the left side at left guard, he has experience in the system. He was with the 49ers last year. Most 49ers fans remember him from being the guy that got blown up in the Super Bowl, and basically, I think he is the guy that cost the hit against on Brock Purdy, where they kind of had an open touchdown, and because he got hit, he wasn't able to complete it. So a lot of people remember from that. Then we got JPJ, who can't seem to stay healthy, and Caleb Rogers, who is a question mark still. So it's a lot of question marks there. So hoping that we're able to get that unit together and gel, because training camp starts July 23rd. Then I think preseason starts August 13th. And then we have our joint practices following that preseason game. Then we got the Texans preseason game on the 20th. So and that span right there from like that 23rd to like the 20th, that's going to be like a big time for us. And there's going to be a lot of stuff is going to be revealed and exposed. And, we're going to see a lot of stuff come to light, whether that be like, oh, are these guys for real? Can we really establish the run, especially against a defense like the Texans? Like, how's the offensive line look? How's the offense look? Hezekiah Masses, we've been hearing he's been having Jack Bech in handcuffs to basically use the seatbelt, safety belt on him, just hitting him with the safety belt all practice long. So, is that real, or is that just, hey, because he knows the offense, and so he knows kind of he can predict what the guys are going to be doing, so he's taking advantage of that.
Yeah.
What do our weapons do, right? Like, Raiders have 2 wide receivers that have gone for more than 500 yards in the season. And those 2 guys are Trey Tucker, who just did it last year, and Philip Dorsett, who's probably not going to be on the roster.
Right.
Those are the only 2 guys we have. So essentially it's just Trey Tucker. So we're expecting a lot from guys that have yet to show it. And, this kind of takes us into our next topic. But the only receiver I've really been hearing like good things about is we hear a little bit from Trey, but it's been like Mike Dixon, aka Malik Benson, right? Like, those are the only guys we've been hearing anything about.
Yeah.
And so from the other guys, you expect, or you would want to say, hey, you know what, these guys, Dante Thornton, he's looked like a totally different player from last year. You would expect, or you want to hear Jack Bech, he's totally transformed himself. Like, we hear Jack Bech got swole, and then that's it, right? Pause if necessary. But that's the only thing we heard about Jack Bech. He came back ripped. He came back, he put on muscle. But like, all right. But my question for that was like, bro, you was already a guy that couldn't separate. So like, you gonna add some heavy muscle to you? Like, what is that gonna do for your game?
Yeah.
Are you just really like embracing? Hey, and maybe the Raiders, maybe they use Jack Bech in like a pseudo tight end role. He played tight end at LSU. Maybe they're 12 and 13 personnel. Maybe their 13 personnel is Michael Mayer, Brock Bowers, and Jack Bech playing like a tight end role. So maybe that's the plan for him. Like, we kind of won't know until the season actually gets here. I'm sure they won't show any of that during the preseason, and really probably not show any of it during the joint practices either. Just because I'm sure Clint's trying to keep everything close to the chest. So until we actually roll that ball out for week 1, that the coin gets flipped, like, it's going to be a lot of mysteries in terms of how we're going to deploy some of these players and what we're going to do to kind of put these guys in the most advantageous positions. Because to this point in the NFL, I know some of these guys are just 1 year in, but whether it's Trey or it's Jalen Naylor or it's Michael Mayer, These guys have yet to really show they can be established weapons in the league on a consistent basis.
We'll see. It's early. You can make an argument and say, well, you know what, Bech is a guy that like should be better with pads on. He's more of a physical type receiver. He's not a burner. He's not that type of receiver where he's gonna like right now the guys that are gonna look good in minicamp OTAs are guys that are like super explosive, fast, shift, like whatever you want to associate with speed. Those guys are probably gonna look the best. But that being said, it is kind of concerning because you hear people in the media who are connected to the Raiders in some way are saying like, "Hey, he just hasn't popped yet. Hasn't seen it," and that's kind of like concerning. And there's a little bit of a backtrack to go along with it. They were like, hey, people. I was taking out the people were trying to took my words out of context, but man, second round pick, guy that was drafted in the second round last year. I remember when he got drafted, I was like, man, and I'm just thinking about like what Steve Smith was saying about him before he got drafted, like he should play a tight end. You know what I mean? I was like, damn, that's wild. And Steve Smith is, he's not the end all be all when it comes to wide receiver position, but he has a pretty good track record. You know what I mean? Like I'm not gonna say that his opinion doesn't matter on the subject. Like he knows what he's talking about. But it's not even just that. It's just that we also didn't see him be productive last year for a lot of different reasons too. The offense wasn't productive. We get it. So we're kind of like throwing away last year. We'll see what it looks like in training camp. I'm hoping for the best. I'm hoping that he could like develop a role, develop some chemistry with the quarterback, play in spots that he's comfortable with. You hear him in an interview saying that like when asked where do you see yourself being successful at Z and in the slot, we didn't see a whole lot year one. We didn't see him out there like that. So hopefully he'll have an opportunity to do that, but he's going to have to prove it to this coaching staff. He's going to have to like actually compete for a role because now you got guys like Naylor who they signed. That's a guy that's probably going to obviously be out there. Then who's after that? Trey Tucker is a guy that I'm sure, what it sounds like they like. And then who's after that? Is it Jack Bech? Is it Dante Thornton? You know what I mean? A guy that impressed in OTAs and mini camps. Like I said, speedy guys are going to impress. So we'll see when the pad goes on. But Malik Benson, he's kind of been stepping up. So hopefully we'll see how it shakes out. But man, when he got drafted, I was just like, ugh. Like it was just that was the natural just reaction. This year, I didn't feel that way. I know some Raider fans were like, it's Tre'Don Stukes, but I actually like Tre'Don Stukes. Completely different player. Yeah. You can argue like, oh, well, they could have got some other players, which is fair, you know what I mean? But I felt like Tre'Don Stukes is a talented enough player. Obviously, you could see what they're trying to do on defense, which is what I want to talk about. Because Jack Bech, that I'm not gonna lie, that is a little concerning that you're hearing stuff from the media saying that like he's not separating, he hasn't just popped, like he just hasn't really shown up. And then you got, rookies kind of like basically like you kind of alluded to, kind of guarding him, like not giving him ability. But we'll see. But it's but it's OTAs.
Have you ever seen? I know some people in the chat might have seen it, but it's like the YouTube channel Destroying. It's like basically like they like
one-on-one drills where they just guard each other. Drills, they're guarding each other.
And they guard each other. One dude at cornerback, one dude at wide receiver.
Yeah.
And so that's a little bit of a taste of what like you will get in OTAs, where there's no pads and stuff. So there is a level of physicality there that you can use, right? It's not like this is now no contact at all, where you can't touch anybody at all. There is a certain level of physicality that you can use, and especially for guys that are on the perimeter. So obviously it's a little bit different for running backs and for linebackers. And if you were like a thumping safety, where you're a guy that's like kind of an intimidator, it's a little bit different for you because you aren't able to impose your will. But for a guy that's like running routes, trying to get separation, you can still use your hand. You can like a lot of the stuff you were going to be doing in pads, you can still do. So, like it's not like he's like handcuffed and he can't put his hands on anybody and he got to run with his hands behind his back, like he can still use that strength and that muscle and his IQ to kind of get separation. So the fact that we kind of heard the same song and dance last year where he was struggling early and was we don't want to panic yet. You just wait till we get to training camp. We put the pads on and then got the pads on and then it still didn't hear a peep out of him. And it was funny, and this will be the kind of last point I make on this is, but the thing about why we give Steve Smith credibility is because, he's a guy that he looks at all receivers and he understands that productive NFL receivers come in different shapes and sizes with different athletic traits. And he was one of the few people when Cooper Kupp was coming out of school, who some people kind of compared to Jack Bech in terms of their skill set. He was like, yo, this is my wide receiver one in this class. And he went out on a limb when very few people were saying that. And stylistically, they should hew close to each other. So for the fact that he was able to identify a guy like Cooper Kupp and say, oh, this is wide receiver one, and look at Jack Bech and say, oh, yo, this dude needs to change positions, like that's concerning.
Yeah. And another thing too is like also they're gonna have to figure out how they're gonna incorporate his skill set when it's kind of being taken right now at the very moment, and it's gonna be taken for probably for the next I don't know how many years, and then that's Brock Bowers. He's gonna be the guy that's gonna be playing that big slot.
Exactly.
So where he
should be
exactly. So that's another thing, and then so they're gonna figure out way, and that sounds Clint Kubiak to figure out a creative ways to like incorporate. If you got two guys that can play well inside, then like he's gonna find different ways to get them out there. So we'll see what happens in training camp. I think that's one of the biggest storylines kind of going in is like, we talked about the offensive line, we talked about the receivers, the running game, a lot of focus on offense. I think the defense, we kind of here and there we were talking about them a little bit, especially with Jermon McCoy and how much he's going to be playing. And I know they expect him to play, especially after missing OTAs and minicamp for, I guess, obvious reasons. They're trying to basically manage his recovery coming back to playing football. But I think also another big thing that needs to hopefully happen early on is, we need to establish run game. That defense got to play well too as well, because there's a lot of talented players. I put myself on a limb by saying, hey, this is probably the most talented Raiders defense that I've seen. Just if you look at overall talent, like we've seen Khalil Mack, but it was Khalil Mack and, if we're being honest, a bunch of guys. You know what I mean? It wasn't really for years. Max Crosby, he hasn't really had a lot of people around him. Maybe I don't know, the Spillane and Yannick, but it's just like, nah, I don't care. I think this outside of now, there's question marks though. You can argue about the depth at linebacker. Starters, okay, cool, because Nakobe Dean is also the big storyline that we haven't talked about. Is that he's kind of has an undisclosed injury because he hasn't really participated throughout I think he was there early on in OTAs, but I don't think there's a long he kind of wasn't out there for the majority of OTAs and also all of minicamp. So that's another thing too, is like, all right, who's going to be the next guy up? And right now it looks like Cody Lindenberg is kind of answering the bell.
He leapfrogged a certain person.
Yeah, so there's depth at linebacker.
He leapfrogged a certain linebacker that's,
Yeah.
I wonder who that is.
Yeah. So that's another big thing that I want to see. Like how does that develop? Like the defense. How does Rob Leonard call the game? Like how is he gonna, that's gonna be a big storyline going into the season, but also all throughout training camp, and figuring out who will be in that rotation at D tackle room. What is it gonna look like? On first down when let's say they run they're in a base 3-4. Who's gonna be the nose tackle? I know you were like Adam Butler, most likely, but do they rotate him, Adam Butler, and maybe, I don't know, like another guy that's in that room, a JJ Pegues, like some of these rookie nose tackles that they picked up. Maybe they show up well, and they possibly kind of rotate them. So we'll see how it shakes out as a defense. I think the big question marks to me is obviously the D tackle, and then like depth at linebacker, and then also who's going to start out, opposite Stokes too. You know what I mean? Those are the question marks. But the overall talent of defense makes me feel like, hey, look, there's something there, but that needs to play well, because now you talk about having a run game, but what compensates a good run game? But good defense. That's how you win football games, right? So Raider fans want to see a winning product. We're being realistic. We'll be realistic. Like, I don't know if it's going to happen this year, but we want to see the team to take strides. And I don't want it to be a situation where they fire a coordinator. Like, I'd rather it be like, hey, look, they made some strides. Let's build on some of the success they had that year, some of the development they had that year. And then you have another good offseason, and then boom, 2027 becomes a year where the Raiders actually are competing to maybe win the division, go to the playoffs, whatever the case may be, depending on how well the talent comes together. But I think year one, it's like a developmental year, but you never know. You never know, man. Like, we've seen teams turn it around. Like last year, perfect example, the Patriots. They went from being one of the worst teams in football the year prior and now in the Super Bowl. So I'm not going to say that that's going to happen with the Raiders, but we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah.
We appreciate everybody.
It's a 4 game, so we'll see.
Yeah, nah, for real. We appreciate everybody coming through. Make sure to clock in, hit that like button, hit that subscribe, and hit that notification bell. Raider Way earlier said Thornton. I don't know, man. Right now he's gonna have to like have a hell of a training camp, and then it is what it is, man. My guy, man, appreciate you pulling up. Yeah, and then brother, Yaya said he doesn't expect that. Yeah, I agree. We'll see. I mean, we'll see what happens. What happens if the Raiders start 0-4?
Our bye week is super late, so I can see that.
Ooh. Super late. Ah, dang.
Yeah, if bye week is super late. Yeah.
What's okay? Okay, well, it's super late. So then, like, what? How many games do you see Mendoza playing this year?
I'm thinking like the top I'll put it at, without barring injury, like 4.
4?
4.
Okay.
Ideally it's none. Ideally, Kirk just plays this whole season out. Maybe he gets like Mendoza gets like the Patrick Mahomes last game of the season start situation, but for the most part, I'm thinking like 4 at the most. And like you said, I just don't think this team is really ready. I'd rather just him. He's not ready, obviously. Just let him get acclimated to the NFL game, get used to the offense. Just sit, learn behind a professional. And look, I'm even rolling Aiden O'Connell out there probably before him, if at all. Like I'm protecting Mendoza this year.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm protecting Mendoza this year at all costs, man. At all costs, I'm making sure I do not want a David Carr situation. I'm not sending him out there to get beat up and get hurt and get.
Hey, I think you know what, this is actually worth talking about, because I think a lot of people that watch this, they understand it, but like I don't think a lot of people understand like why they don't understand the thought process of not playing Mendoza. Like the reason why you don't want to play Mendoza early on when you have all these things that are still trying to be figured out, meaning like offensive line, the run game, like this like so many things that, the young team has to go through to a certain extent, is that like you don't want him to get hurt. You don't want to ruin his confidence. You also don't want him to develop bad habits. So you want him to come, because right now it's all about teaching Mendoza, having him like he's gonna make mistakes, but you want him to you want to give him the best you want to put him in the best position possible to be successful. So I think that's why getting a guy like Cousins makes it like, oh, okay, you got Cousins, we're good. You know what I mean? Most likely, Cousins would have to basically do what Geno Smith did last year. like, you know what I mean, the majority,
Yeah.
like in order to like lose his job.
Yeah,
Or if
basically.
they lose games, I think if they lose a few games, and then I think because you know Mike McCoy, you know, he was pretty confident saying that like, hey, we have a plan for Mendoza. We have a
Yeah.
plan on what. So they have a vision and plan on when they're going to put him out there. That being said, like I said, make sure to clock in, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. Speaking of Mendoza, recently Keon Crawford signed his rookie deal. Mendoza and Jermod McCoy, I believe, are the last two Raiders that are unsigned, rookies unsigned. Is there any? Are you concerned? Is this a Jamarcus Russell situation? You know what I mean? Well, all the young Raider fans, you don't know, Jamarcus Russell was obviously #1 pick back in the day, and he actually held out. Was it he held out like majority of the season?
Into the season. Into the season. No, he held out all the offseason into the season. I think into like week 1.
Week 1? Okay.
Yeah.
It
I
felt
think
like he was going. Like, yeah, we didn't see a lot of him early on.
We didn't see him at all.
Yeah.
And that kind of set him up. That set him up, you know, to like obviously we kind of know what Jamarcus Russell became in NFL, right? So that was the first sign that, you know, that these things could be troubling. And that was the draft I wanted, you know, Calvin Johnson. So I was even more upset during the whole holdout saga.
Man.
But back then, you know, that was in the wild west of there was no like rookie slots in terms of their salary. So like rookie quarterbacks, especially rookie quarterbacks, they would often come in and be like the highest paid player, or one of the highest paid players in the league. For sure, the highest paid player on the team, but one of the highest paid players in the league. So, you know, the times have changed in large part because of Jamarcus Russell. So, you know, you don't have to worry about that as much anymore. I'm a little more concerned, I'll be honest with you, about Jamal McCoy than I am about Fernando Mendoza.
Yeah.
Not being there, because I think Fernando Mendoza will eventually sign. I think Jamal McCoy will too, but it's like, bro, you're a fourth round pick. Like, why is it taking so long for you?
Well, he's not
and
just any fourth round pick. I
yeah,
mean,
it's not. But that's the thing though, because remember when. And it's ironic because we're going to talk about this guy later in the show. But remember the year that we drafted Darius Hayward-Bay.
Yeah.
And remember, Michael Crabtree had a prolonged holdout because he felt he was the better player than Darius Hayward-Bay. So he felt that even though he was drafted after him,
Yeah.
he should get more than him.
Yeah.
In terms of salary. So he had a long holdout with the 49ers. Now, I'm not saying that's what's going on with Jamal McCoy, but I'm sure there's a level of, I'm an elite prospect. And the only reason I'm not drafted higher is because of, you know, these question marks around my knee. Like, and maybe his representation is saying, look, this guy wants to get paid. He's not your average fourth. Like the first thing you said, he's not your average fourth round pick. And that's correct. And I will acknowledge that. And I'm sure his representation will acknowledge that. But from the Raiders standpoint, they're like, bro, you're a fourth round pick. Like, we about to pay you like a fourth round pick.
Mm-hmm.
And that could be the point of contention where it's like they're looking at it like I'm not just a normal fourth round pick. And the Raiders are saying, look, we're going to pay you like we would any other fourth round pick. We're not going to treat you any differently. You haven't stepped foot in the NFL regular season yet. So, you know, you haven't really earned the right to say that you deserve more. So that's where I'm more concerned there. Like I said, I don't think it'll get too crazy, but I can see them having difficulty coming to an agreement.
Alex says McCoy agent may want some clauses in there because injury risk. Yeah, that's another thing too. It's like, you know, he's a guy that's coming into the league hurt, and one of the reasons why the big reason why he dropped all the way to the fourth is because of the type of injury that he has and the possibility that he can never play again if he hurts it again and, you know, doesn't recover well after another surgery, then his career is pretty much done. So that it's kind of a tricky situation because obviously, you know, like I'm sure his agent and them are trying to negotiate the best deal possible. And the Raiders are like, hey, look,
it could be
we're going to give you a fourth round pick contract. And anything more than this, you're going to have to earn because, look, you dropped to the fourth for a reason, man. Like, we ain't trying to pay you anything more, anything less. Just We're trying to keep it fair, which I'm thinking that's what's going on. But that's a good point about McCoy. Like that's the one that where you're like, damn, that's kind of interesting. Like because he's coming in kind of hurt and he hasn't signed yet. But we'll see. They're the two last players on the team that haven't signed their rookie deals, so we'll keep an eye on that. There's definitely plenty of time until training camp before they sign them. But yeah, man, we appreciate everybody coming through. Make sure to clock in, hit that like button, hit that subscribe, and hit that notification bell. My guy says McCoy want a different type of incentives and clauses. Maybe. But there's only so much negotiating that you can do because there's like a rookie pay scale. Exactly. So, you know, the fourth rounders are all going to get – remember, was it last year or the year before where it was a lot of second-round picks that didn't get signed because they were all looking – yeah, they were all looking to get, like, guaranteed deals. So that was, like, one of the first time where I'm like, oh, okay. You know, I guess that was their way of negotiating. Everybody was, like, on the same page in terms of that. I think majority of second-round picks got, like, a fully guaranteed deal. Yeah. But, yeah, there's only so much negotiating you can do. There's like, you know, and they made the rules for a reason. But back in the day, before the rookie pay scale, man, players used to hold out and like ask, man, Jamarcus got all types of money. That was one of the big storylines. Like Jamarcus got all this money, and then also him not working out was just like, damn, a double whammy. You know what I mean? Like so. That those days are gone, but they're still getting paid a whole lot, you know. And I guess this would probably be a good segue about players, you know, basically losing out on money. We should probably get into. You already know what time it is, man. It's that time.
Personal foul, 69, offense. He was giving them the business.
Flag on the play. What we got this week, Severe?
Yeah, man. Flag on the play. Talking about people missing out on money.
Yep.
Man, there is a certain quarterback that was supposed to be going to a certain school, and you know, he's no longer going to be able to go to that school. And then he tried to enter the draft, and guess what? You know when they say it's an old saying that religious people say when God closes the door, he opens the window. The window closed too. The window's closed too.
Damn.
So
Damn.
the window is closed too. We are talking about none other than Brandon Sorsby. And you know, it was announced earlier today, or his representatives got sent a letter saying that the NFL will not be holding a supplemental draft this year, citing the fact that, you know, the time that he turned his application in, and also the reasoning behind his petition to enter the supplemental draft. They deemed it unsatisfactory, therefore they won't be holding a supplemental draft. Therefore, Brandon Sorsby would not be able to participate in the 2026 NFL season under any circumstance.
That's tough. The NFL always wins, man. You can't beat the NFL. You know what I mean? Like and especially if in this type of situation where the NFL is basically, they're punishing Brandon Sorsby in a way. And you know, the NFL and college, they go hand in hand. There's like a track record of like players coming in and they had issues in college and they'll suspend them for a few games or whatever the case may be. In this case, with Brandon Sorsby, they completely blocked him, you know, in a way, because they're canceling the supplemental draft when clearly he's not able to play in college. You would think that he would have the opportunity to be drafted in the supplemental draft, but it's definitely not happening. And the NFL is basically saying we have more money than you and we have more lawyers than you. Yep. So at the end of the day, and you have to come and play in the NFL. Like you know what I mean? Like, so if you want to fight us in court, hey, you might not be picked up. You might be fighting this for years. You might not be playing.
Exactly.
So it's almost like one of those like tough situations for him. But you can also argue that it's all self-inflicted. Everything about this is self-inflicted to Brandon Sorsby, from the gambling, from the way he handled his college career. I mean, like, literally, why not enter the draft right from the beginning? He literally agreed to go to Texas Tech, and then for whatever reason, I guess, he felt like, well, I guess I'm getting caught up. The news is coming out, and then boom, they find out. I'm sure, or that he knew that the stuff was going to come out, so he enters himself into that's how we found out. He enters into a rehab for gambling addiction, and then he kind of fights to play or to resume his college career, which he then, I guess technically was able to have a win where he was able to continue his college career, but Texas Tech and him had a conversation and decided to go separate ways. So, oh man, like tough situation, but I think the way he handled it, I felt like if he would have just went straight to the draft, I think if anything, he would have probably dropped. Maybe he might have not been drafted in the first round. But if you think about it, he might have been. Oh man, it was like I just felt like he just handled the situation terribly. 9,000 bets is wild.
So
Bro. 9,000.
That's all you gotta say, bro.
9,000.
9,000 over 2 seasons, bro. I forgot somebody did the math last time, bro. It was like
Alfredo,
like 15 bets a day or something like that. Like something crazy.
Yeah, Sorsby ain't that good. I liked him. I thought there was some talent there. I think that he should have. I felt like there's definitely some development that he needed, but I felt like he has some traits where you'd be like, to me, I'm drafting in the first round. If he went in the first round, like obviously not knowing that he had all this off-field stuff, I think he's definitely worth getting drafted in the first round. Look at the quarterback class this year. Mendoza, then who? Ty Simpson. It's like, yeah. I mean,
that was it.
I don't know if Rams fans are excited. Like, we got Ty Simpson with the 13th pick.
Nah, they weren't. I mean, they were looking at a win now situation. So.
Right. But I'm sure, like with McVay, there's always the intrigue of giving him like a big traits type of quarterback where he can develop and play in that system. We're like, damn, like kind of like Andy Reid and Mahomes. You see that combination is deadly. Like you win Super Bowls. You got a quarterback talented like Mahomes, and then you pair him with an elite all-time coach and offensive-minded coach like Andy Reid. You see how many games they've won. You see how many Super Bowls they won. Deadly combination. So that's why, like, well, actually, technically, McVay has that in, he's older. Stafford.
Yeah, Stafford. Yeah.
So I think that's why when you look at a Ty Simpson, you're like, well, he's, I don't want to like say that it's not going to work out, but I'm just saying like it'd be fun to see quarterbacks like that go to like really, create an offensive-minded coaches. Yeah. But
it was a calculated risk.
Yeah, no, facts. But I think Sorsby's talented. I felt like he should probably, but I understand why he wanted to play another college, go back to college, develop for a year, and then you come back and you probably could possibly be drafted in the first round if you play well. Like look at Mendoza. I don't think anybody was talking about Mendoza.
No.
Going in the first round, I think maybe if anything, I don't know, second, third,
second, early third.
Yeah, no one was talking about him in that way. I think there was other quarterbacks that were being talked about, which is crazy. The difference a year makes. So a lot of quarterbacks that we see that are projected, because there's all these early mock drafts where they talk about, these are the top players that are going to come out next year. But guess what? They still got to go out there and play. They still got to go out there and like produce. So, so I think Sorsby, I think he was talented, but man, you got to question: is his career over? How can he recover from this? Because he's not going to be playing football this year. Like he's going to have to. I was joking earlier with you. I was like, Mamba mentality. He's going to have to toughen up and like figure out how he's going to be able to like keep himself focused and motivated while he's not playing football. I mean, in these type of situations, especially when you talk about like mounting Like he lost out in $4 million with Texas Tech. And then when you think about, like, let's say if he played with Texas Tech this year and played well, drafted in the first round with his type of talent, play well, he's a guy that you could probably see someone draft him in the top 10.
Yeah,
That's 50, you could argue that's $50 million in guaranteed money. Top 5, top 10 quarterback.
Yeah.
So, he's
Man,
losing a
imagine
whole lot
how
of
many
money.
bets you can make with 50.
Man. No, facts.
How many bets can you make with 50 million? Nah, but I mean, think about it is that we kind of knew something was going to happen, because we saw that the NFL, and it's happened in the past, where they don't want to be just an easy escape hatch for guys who violate the rules of the NCAA, right? Because there's a symbiotic relationship between those two institutions, and they depend on each other. Obviously, college, they need they they're the buffer between the NFL and high school players. They're kind of the training ground. These guys, develop a following. They become stars and household names, and they become ready-made NFL players. Coming into a professional league where people are already. Fernando Mendoza is probably going to be one of the biggest selling jerseys because of what he did at Indiana, and obviously Raiders fans having a big Hispanic fan base, so they're going to buy a Mendoza jersey. So he's probably selling through the roof right now. I'm sure it's a lot of the other rookies. I'm sure their jerseys are probably the best sellers on their team as well. So that's already generating money. And then college, they need these players because that's the lifeblood of what they are. As these quote unquote student athletes, really just employees now at this point because NIL. But
Mm-hmm.
these guys are the guys that that generate billions of dollars for the NCAA and for these schools, and so for all these programs. So it's a relationship where they depend on each other. So the NFL is going to do everything they can to make sure they protect the public, the public sanctity of the NCAA. Now, do we know that shady stuff goes on in NCAA? Yeah, of course. Shady stuff goes on in NFL? Yeah, of course. But when this stuff comes to light and it's as obvious and in people's face as it is, and it becomes like this big story, and obviously something has to be done about it, because if for nothing else, they have to save face and make it look like they they're protecting the integrity of these games. And the same thing happened with Terrell Pryor, where he was facing the suspension at Ohio State, and then when he entered the supplemental draft, they still made him take that suspension in the NFL. But they didn't do that to Jim Tressel, but they didn't do it to Jim Tressel because Jim Tressel, it wasn't that big of a story.
Yeah.
So that they kind of slide that under the rug because he was also facing recruiting violations. So look at Jim Harbaugh. He left Michigan a mess because of the sign stealing stuff and because of the recruiting violations he did down there. Look at Pete Carroll, left USC a mess. They still have yet to fully recover from all of the sanctions that school was put under because of the plethora of recruiting violations that Pete Carroll was recruiting while he was there. That ended up for them losing scholarships for several years. So they were firing head coaches because these head coaches couldn't win because they had scholarship limits and recruiting limits. So like they're still feeling the ramifications to this day. So like if it's not, they'll let certain people get away with it, but they won't let other people get away with it. And a lot of it has to do with how the public feels about it. And when it comes to betting and the integrity of the game and people thinking these games are fixed, they're going to take that very seriously because sports betting it's a big business in the United States. It's big business worldwide. It's even bigger business worldwide, but it's becoming increasingly big in the United States as more these apps find ways against find ways around the rules that limit sports betting in these states. Like Kalshi, like that's they found a way around this direct sports betting to allow people in California to be able to access that kind of stuff where they couldn't before. So now it's that's generating hundreds of millions and soon to be billions of dollars right there. So No, when it's money involved, the NFL, they gonna take it extremely serious.
Yeah, no, facts. And it's Raider Unleashed, his Canadian Football League is always looking quarterback. It'd be crazy if I was thinking about this. What happens if like Sorsby like goes to one of these like professional football leagues, and he just becomes the greatest quarterback, like the Warren Moon for years.
Warren Moon
had like doesn't he have like records for the Canadian Football League, or what was
Pretty
it?
sure he does, yeah.
Yeah,
He's the GOAT. He's a GOAT over there.
Yeah. Like he has like all-time records for the Canadian, and then obviously he was able to come to the NFL and play pretty well as well. So we'll see. It's not over, but it's just, man, these types of distractions, these types of things take a toll on people. So it's going to be interesting to see like how, a young Sorsby, because I know someone in the chat was like, ain't he 25? No, he turned 22, believe.
Yeah, he's still pretty young.
Yeah, he's still young. Like he's 21 last year, college season, 22. He turned 22 in January. So I think, he's still young enough, but it's like, man, when you got the league basically everybody's questioning your character, because that's pretty much what it is. Like, I think a lot of it, like if you look at it from, I know my guy DK said earlier in the chat, he kind of would come out of this. So we try to play the system. They all know it. And I don't know how that you trust him to lead a franchise. Ooh, damn.
Yeah.
That's tough, man. And he's quarterback. That's the thing. He's the quarterback, face of the franchise. That's gonna be interesting how teams kind of go about it with him. But we'll see. Next year will be he'll have a year to think about it. He's gonna have to figure.
I mean,
he can't even get signed on to another team. Like if you can't get they basically block. Like you can't go to any team. Next year he'll probably try to. I think, would he be eligible to go to the draft?
Next year, probably, yeah. He should go. He can enter the official draft.
The official draft, which at that point, now it's like, I'm sure teams probably gonna drop him all the way down. At that point, I'm like,
Look,
maybe Raiders a 7th-round pick. I'll do it.
The Raiders got Bo Jackson in what was it, the 6th round?
Yep.
The 6th round.
Hey man, might as well just. I'm just saying, man, just let him sit. Let you know what I mean. Let him sit. Let him develop his skill set.
The Raiders already had Marcus Allen on the team when they drafted Bo Jackson too. Hey,
yeah,
they already got Fernando Mendoza.
Yeah, but Flag on to play on the NFL, man. Like you hate to see it, but also like Flag on Brandon Sorsby too. Come on, man. We're not here talking about like don't have any accountability. Like, I think he basically all, like I said, self-inflicted wounds with him gambling, but also the way he handled it was like, damn, like you knew you could have entered the draft early on. And at that point, like you mentioned, like there's no way the NFL could have stopped him from being drafted. At that point, it's on the NFL teams to make that decision. And they stopped him. They stopped they stopped basically the whole process for teams to basically decide to draft him or not by canceling the supplemental draft. So it is what it is, man. Flag on the play, but we're not done yet. I think this is the Kevin Durant, right? Recently, Kevin Durant sat down podcast. Bro, this dude. Oh my! When I heard the clip of him on this podcast talking about the reason why he chose the Warriors. Years later. So this is well thought out. I'm gonna play this clip. He explains his reason why he chose the Raiders. Do I have it? Did you? I sent it, right?
You sent it to me. Yeah. You sent
yeah. I sent it to you.
Disgusting.
Oh yeah, it was terrible. It's terrible. But let me go ahead and put this up. If you haven't already, make sure to click in, hit that like button, hit that subscribe, and hit that notification bell. Oh, was it the full court press?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. All right, here we go.
Can't hear it yet if you're playing it.
Oh, did they take off the clip? Wow.
Go off the clip. Oh, they in full protection mode.
Yeah, I'm sure I could
Yeah.
find it somewhere else, but the clip that I sent you. But look,
Yeah.
so this is the quote from the. I actually want to play the original video, but this is the quote that he said, kind of basically alluding to why he signed with the Warriors. They've never been a winning organization. Nobody liked Golden State. I'm looking at the totality of the franchise, not what happened the last 5 years. That's why he chose the Warriors.
Hell no. To the no, no, no. Hell to the no.
Stop the cap.
Bruh. Come on, man. Who are you? Like, he's basically insulting everybody's intelligence, man, at this point, man. Because there's no way you could say that with a straight face. And he tried to cover it up by saying, well, I'm talking about the totality of the franchise, not the last 5 years. What are you talking about? Like, you went to a team that was obviously like one of the best teams in the NFL in the NBA, went 73-9, won at least one or two championships before he got there. I think at least one championship. And then went 73-9. 73-9.
73-9, bro.
And one of the best players in the NBA with Steph Curry in the building. Obviously, you got Clay. You know the young nucleus, the role play, everything, the coaching staff, the infrastructure. They were that team. And you almost beat that team. They beat you. And guess what happened? You chose to, if you can't beat them, join them. That's exactly what happened. You chose the easy way out, which is, it's all good. Like to be honest with you, I thought he should have stayed with the Warriors. And the Warriors probably would have continued winning because I felt like they had a good thing going on with him there. But I think he can get over the fact that, like, of the critics of saying that, like, wow, like, you're not the reason why they were winning. Like, or people knew how great a talent he was, but then they would have been like, well, Steph Curry's there, you're the number 2 guy, like, you get it. But he was never able to overcome that. He went to the Brooklyn Nets, failed, went to all these teams, Houston, not working out, Phoenix, not working out. You know what I mean? You keep going on and on. Like, it just didn't work out for a lot of different reasons. He tried to create these super teams. I think in Brooklyn, it was like Kyrie and James Harden, and just didn't work.
Yeah.
But for him to say, oh, the reason why they're just not a winning franchise. Come on, bro. The Warriors were sold to a new ownership group. In that during that time, Steph was drafted. I think Steph might have been drafted a year prior to them getting there, but they were in the building. They hired all the right people. They hired, obviously, the Mark Jacksons of the world, who was able to help develop that team. And then you got Steve Kerr, was able to take them to the next level and win championships. And the rest is history. Like how do you I don't know how to understand, like, man, like, and there, there's, I don't know, have you seen that funny clip where he's out and about and I guess he's seen cameras and he hides in the bushes? Oh man, dude.
Yeah.
He's just a funny dude, man. Funny dude. And I don't know. He's just a flag on a play on Kevin Durant, man. If you agree with me, man, it is what it is. But I just feel like, man, that was a full of shit answer, man.
It was first of all, it was low key like it was a full of shit answer, but he also like dissed the Warriors too. He's like, yeah, nobody likes the Warriors. It's like, what? Like what? Like the whole Bay loves the Warriors, bro. What you talking about? So like it was a BS answer, but like you said, all the reasons you brought up, man. First of all, the team had came down from 3-1 to beat you on the Thunder. So you were up 3-1 on them. I want to say in the Western Conference Finals.
And he's playing for the Thunder.
And he's playing for the Thunder. And that team beats you. So, like, it's not like oh, my God, well, this team really needs me because without me, what would they be? Motherfucker, they beat you. And they set the record for the most wins in the regular season that same year. And if not for Draymond Green, kicking people in the balls and calling LeBron the B word and doing nonsense, they probably win the title that year.
Right.
But he gets suspended. The Cavs come back down from 3-1, and then not off season, the Warriors like, okay, well, damn, we gotta make a move, and Kevin Durant was the move. But to say like there was some underdog, bro, it's like, bro, come on, dog, come on, bro. This is not like who are you fooling? Who are you? The team just set the record for the most wins ever in the regular season, and they had already won a championship the year prior to that. So not like you are helping a team that never won. They had already won the championship. Then they came back, retooled, set the record for the most wins in the regular season, and were up 3-1 in the finals, one game away from winning another title. And then obviously they came crashing down. And then you joined them? Come on, dog. Like come on, dog.
Yeah. Durant is one of those players that will go down as like, man, one of the most talented players, but I don't think he was able to fulfill his potential in that and it's hard to it's crazy to say that because he's one of the greatest scorers that we've seen in the game, but like he kind of leaves like he's not a leader. You know what I mean? He's not like that number one guy. Like from a mental standpoint, like he's not gonna go on the team. He's the number two. He has the talent of number one,
exactly,
but the mentality of a number two. Like he just wants to be behind the scenes. He doesn't want to be that guy like that. Will be the actual leader, and I don't know, man.
He doesn't have winning habits. Like in my opinion, he's a better pure basketball player than Steph Curry. But Steph Curry embodies everything that a winner is. Like Steph Curry can win as the less talented guy, as a smaller guy. Kevin Durant has all the talent in the world and he's 7 feet tall, but he doesn't have winning habits. And he's never really had them. That's why no team he's been on has ever been able to get over the hump outside of him joining a team that had guys that had winning habits.
And this is why, like, since we talking about basketball, this is why, like, when people say, like, remember the Kobe conversation? Kobe, for example, right? Kobe conversation where people were saying, like, oh, well, if you took Kobe out the equation, you had this talented player, they would have won. Nah, I don't think it's that simple. How can you say that when you got Durant's of the world who can't figure it out? You got Kyrie Irving, who before he teamed up with LeBron, he wasn't even sniffing the playoffs with the Cavs in the Eastern Conference. The Eastern Conference is always, if anybody watches basketball, he's notoriously known to be the weaker conference.
Yep.
So if you're a great player and you could figure some things out around you, you have a good chance. Why I think that's a big reason, as great as LeBron is, a big reason why he was able to make all those finals appearances and be able to get to the finals year out, because he's a great player on top of the Eastern Conference, really not really putting up a fight outside of maybe one or two teams. Well, you got Western Conference where it's just like, damn, like each round, it's just tougher. Western Conference is a lot tougher. But yeah, like I said, man, you got the Kyrie Irvings of the world, the Durants of the world. They got the talent, but it's just that's crazy that like we're talking about it from this perspective is like that tells you how, and this is the same thing that you could say in the NFL and pro sports in general. Like all these players are talented, from the bench players, the starters, the backups, the role players. They're all talented. It's just when you talk about the best, like it's like sometimes it's a certain mentality, or like you just said, winning habits. Like these small little things that just make a big difference. Like both players are talented, but one player does it this way and it's just boom. Like Durant is like crazy. He's almost as big as Wemby.
Yeah, it's like 4 inches, 4 or 5 inches, something like that.
I mean, like, come on, we're talking about like 6'10", 6'11".
Yeah.
Guy that plays like a guard, literally. Like Wemby's 7'6". Like he's not as athletic as Durant. Durant, like you could see, he actually plays like a guard. Like he has a nice little crossover.
got a handle. He got a pull up jumper.
Yeah,
He got
played like a
everything.
guard. Like Wemby, it's just man, he's like 7'6", 7'6". This is a whole different conversation.
Yeah.
And he has a little bit of like moves, but he's not fast.
Yeah.
Like he's not hella fast, or like he's not Durant. Durant was actually crossing dudes that were smaller than him.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like
For sure.
that's how talented Durant was. But like,
yeah,
he just
Durant will bring the ball up court. Like we saw how he had the dagger on the Cavs. Just, hey, pull up, stop, pop, dagger, game over, finals, clinched. Like that's the kind of talent he has. But he just doesn't have the mentality to be a winning player, man. Like you said with Kyrie, man. Kyrie went to the Celtics to get away from LeBron, and that Celtics team, they were like middling when he was there, and then the year after he left, I think they like went to the finals or went to the Eastern Conference Finals. Like right after he left, that same team. Yeah. Right after he leaves, they become better. Yeah. Like it's no mystery with these guys. Like Kim, Harden, all they're the same, bro. He's supremely talented, but they don't have what it takes to win, and that's what separates a guy like Kyrie. Not Kyrie, but like Curry, when it comes to the greatest players ever. Like who's a better player?
Way better,
Durant,
man.
I think is a better player.
I'm taking.
Curry's gonna be way over him in terms of greatest player of all time because
for sure
he wins. Yeah, he wins.
I'm taking Steph, and I'm not even being biased. Like I'm just like he come on. Like how can you argue? Like how can you argue about his
results? Argue with results.
His impact is crazy. You could talk about it on so many different levels. The league, his team. Obviously, you talk about winning. And a lot of the players that you mentioned, the Durant. That's a good point. And they all and got to put Westbrook a little bit. Westbrook in there too.
For sure, Westbrook.
Westbrook, man, the talent. Like these are all these players were like, damn, like they're crazy talented, but you're like, damn, they never really were able to like win on as number ones. I think like you could argue with when the Thunder with Westbrook and Durant, like, bro, if Durant came back the following year, if he had that mentality, they probably could have beat the Warriors in the playoffs
for sure. They were up 1-3-1.
Insane, man. Flag on the play on Durant, man, for those comments. But hey, well, who would you who'd you rather have, Durant or McGrady in a prime?
Durant.
Oh damn, McGrady was nice though, man.
McGrady was nice. McGrady stayed hurt too though. McGrady was nice.
Yeah,
McGrady never made it out of the first round. Like Durant at least made it out of the first round. McGrady never won a first round series, bro. Remember McGrady was like the first dude to lose a 3-1 lead, bro.
But it was funny. I remember that because it was funny because they were talking to him like he was like, yeah, man, like he was just it feels good to make out the first round, and he ends up losing like Game 7.
The Magic, yep.
No, yeah, he was with the Magic against Detroit. He lost against Detroit.
Yep. Yeah, they were up 3-1.
Did Detroit? Hold up.
Yeah, I think it was Detroit.
It was Detroit? Yeah, I think it was Detroit. But that Detroit team with Rasheed Wallace, Richard Hamilton, Chauncey Billups. I don't think that was the year they won the championship.
No, I forgot who they lost to.
Was that the year they won the championship? But that was that team. That was that team.
No, that wasn't the year they won the championship. I think that when they won a championship, they ended up picking Rasheed Wallace up during the season. Yeah. I don't think they had for that series. I don't think they had him at that time. Yeah. But yeah.
I don't know, man. McGrady was 6'8", 6'9". Probably better handle, better passer. Damn, scorer though. Damn,
score is easy. Durant score. People want to hate on Durant, bro. Durant got a crazy handle. Durant's a hell of a passer. He's a better defender than give.
No. But he wasn't better passer than he wasn't better passer than McGrady.
I wouldn't say he's better passer. I wouldn't say he's better passer, but he's a hell of a passer too, though.
Handle is about the same. Handle, you probably about the same.
And he's taller, way better shooter. Better free throw shooter. Like I think he got. I don't want to say he got a. I don't say he got a bigger bag, but like a bag. In terms of bags, I'll give it to Durant, but slightly. Not like I think he had a bigger bag than T Mac, but T Mac had a bag too, so
Oh
I
no, man.
wouldn't
T
I
T T
wouldn't
Mac
downplay him.
T Mac was
But
nice. I think injuries kind of robbed him though a little bit. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
we did kind of rob him.
Like
But Durant was
it
doing
is what
all
it
of
is.
this, bro, at 7 feet tall.
Yeah, I
It's
know.
like
I know. It's the talent is
7 feet
not what I'm
tall.
yeah, the talent's not in question, but I think yeah, that's a good little one-on-one right there. McGrady and Durant, because I feel like both highly talented. Because McGrady was basically he was giving Kobe work. You know what I mean? Like there's clips of like Kobe basically falling down. Like I remember spin move, boom. That's a whole different conversation. But
McGrady was a beast, but man,
because I'm trying to think,
yeah,
was there players before? Like there's players before. Like you could probably say AI McGrady, but AI went to the finals. He actually led his team to the finals. It was a weak Eastern Conference. I'm talking about trash too.
Yeah,
that year. Oh, I'm talking the Eastern Conference Finals that year was Sixers and the Bucks. And I'm trying to think who's on that Bucks team. That Bucks team was like basically
that was Ray Allen, Sam Cassell, Glenn Robinson.
A cool little team,
Ray
but not Eastern Conference Finals though, man. Like
what was Ray Allen, Glenn Robinson, Sam Cassell? That's the only people I could think of off the top of my head. They had a few other guys too that were cool. Damn, who else was on the team?
T Mac was Durant before Durant. Yeah,
kind of,
yeah. 03 Pistons. Yeah, okay.
Thing is, T Mac had.
That's what I'm saying, bro. T Mac was nice, man. Like, damn.
Yeah.
It's just the injuries is like, damn, that robbed him. So it kind of took away from his. But it is what it is. Like it's pretty close. It's pretty close. To me, it's close. It's close. If you said Durant, I wouldn't be mad, but like, T Mac,
pretty clear. For me, it's pretty clear. But I think people have recency bias against Kevin Durant.
No. I'm saying I'm looking at the talent. I'm actually looking at the talent, like pass, handle, score, mid range, three. He was a scorer. He would like pure score.
He didn't really have he didn't have.
Oh, his Hezzy game was crazy. That Hezzy, like, come on.
He had that,
that Hezzy, then pull up
move. Yeah, but Kevin Durant could do all of that, and he's a much better 3-point shooter, bigger, like way better range, and like I said, he's if Kevin Durant wants to get a shot off, there's nobody in the league outside of like Wembanyama that can bother a shot at all.
30-point comeback with Rockets. Yeah, that was insane.
Yeah,
that was insane.
That was crazy.
That was crazy, man.
But Reggie Miller had that against the Knicks though. Yeah, he had like 7 points in like 15 or 25 seconds.
Nah, but that against the Spurs too. 13 points. Come on, bro.
Reggie did it in the playoffs.
In the playoffs. Hold up. Let me think about I'm thinking. Oh, what was Durant all times? What was the most points he ever scored in the game?
Probably 60, something like that.
Okay.
I think T Mac has a 70. Does T Mac have a 70? I think T Mac might have a 70.
Oh, did he have 70? No, I think he had like 62 with Magic back in the day. But yeah, like I said, that's a conversation that can go either way. You can make an argument for both. But I respected the talent of T Mac. He was crazy. But his injuries kind of like messed up his career a little bit.
He had 662.
Magic, yeah. Durant's an ass teammate. He'll probably never win another chip. Right. He had to go to a winner to win it.
Durant had 55.
Yeah, and you know what, and you know what too. Back then,
and the loss, it was crazy.
The back then, like all right. So this is the conversation where we're gonna move on, but this is a conversation where we talk about like different eras. They had different ways of going about things, and I think back then it was all about volume scores. Today's NBA, or at least Durant coming up, it was all about, especially with LeBron and Durant and these guys, It was all about efficiency. So they pay attention to these things. Players pay attention to stats. I don't care what anybody says.
Yeah,
They pay attention to stats, bro. They pay attention to stats. They know when they got 38 points, and if they get to 40, you know what I mean, it'll be a career high. You know what I mean? Like they know if someone tells them, cool, but they're gonna know their stats. They're gonna know their shooting percentages. They're gonna know because these things are also negotiated in contracts too. You know what I mean? Meaning that like this is what I bring to the table. I need to be paid like one of the best scorers in the NBA or whatever the case may be. I'm just saying, like, they all looking at their stats. And I think Durant came up in that era of like efficiency with the LeBrons of the world and him and guys like that. Back then it was like the AIs and Kobe's. It wasn't really about efficiency. It was like, man, like volume scores. T-Mac, you put T-Mac in there. Also, T-Mac.
Facts, yeah. Facts. T-Mac, yeah, for me, obviously, you know, Kobe, everybody, that was Kobe's rap. AI. Ray Allen wasn't really, I won't say volume scorer. He was more of a shooter, but he was a super scorer. Michael Finley was kind of a volume scorer. Michael Finley would get off. Vince would go crazy.
I put Vince in there.
Yeah. Michael Finley was playing buckets, man. Michael Finley was the mask, but Michael Finley was a dog.
He was cool.
Michael Finley was cool. But he was a dog. No, he was like a bro. He was like
he was good. He was good.
He was hella good.
He wasn't great though. He wasn't great.
He's not T-Mac or Kobe level, but there was some years though.
He wasn't Vince Carter level too. He wasn't Vince Carter.
He wasn't Vince Carter, nah. But for some years,
he wasn't AI. He wasn't AI level. You know what I mean? He wasn't AI.
It was like Hall of Fame. It was all like
Ray Allen. Ray Allen. Would you say he's Ray Allen level? Come on.
No, I wouldn't say Ray Allen level. But there were, like I said, there were some years that he was in those conversations as one of the best players in the league.
Yeah, I mean, I thought he was good. He was good. I don't think he was great, but be like Baron Davis, guys like that. I'm trying to think of like.
Yeah, for sure, Baron Davis. Somebody put Melo, another one of those guys, volume scorer. Yeah, he kind of came up around that era a little bit, like near the end, kind of because LeBron came in the league, and LeBron, the reason why he's an efficient scorer is because his game is basically like he likes to take it to the rim a lot more. Yeah, you know what I'm saying. But that's what Durant is. Durant is like. But Durant is all about efficiency. Durant is like super efficient. He's super. Yeah. That's the thing, but his shooting splits, he's probably like for his career, he's probably like probably damn near 50, probably high 30s, probably in the 90s for his free throws. Like super efficient.
Yeah. So that's a testament to his talent too, because he can do that. Because he can shoot and there's nobody blocking his shot. No one could block his shot. He's 6'10", 6'11", maybe 7 foot. You know what I mean? On a good day. But yeah, man, if you haven't already, make sure to clock in, hit that like button, hit that subscribe, and hit that notification. I think that wraps up Flag on the Play this week. We're not done yet. Oh man, hey, appreciate you, man. Well, hey, look, we try to mix it up a little bit. We try to mix it up. You know, we'll mix it up. He's asking if we do an NBA podcast or whatever, but we try to mix it up, talk hoop, talk football. You know, it's the off season, so we probably gonna mix it up a lot during the off season. You know, if we're being honest.
My boy ain't been in here throwing. So Michael was like, "What about Michael B. Jordan?"
He hasn't been the same. He hasn't been the same since he won an Oscar, man. He hasn't been back since then.
Hey, look. He proved his point, man. He proved his point to Pharaoh. He probably
that's funny. That's funny. Man. Well, we ain't done yet, man. We got notable quotables. What we got this week, Severe?
We got this week, man. And we talked a little bit about him earlier. But you know, obviously, former Raider quarterback Derek Carr spent the best years of his career here with the Raiders. And some of the best years of his career were spent with former 49er, former first-round pick who held out because he wanted more money, Michael Crabtree. And, you know, Derek and David was basically just giving Michael Crabtree his flowers, something we can't do to any of our receivers.
All right, man. Here we go.
Can we just do a second on Michael Crabtree?
Yeah, we can. Yes, please.
I loved him.
He was a fantastic football player.
Competitive.
Amazing.
Funny.
Catch radius.
So funny.
So funny.
Catch radius.
Chill.
I once caught an out route that I threw at his ankle in a walkthrough.
Yes.
He went like this, and then he reached down, didn't look at the ball.
Yes.
Reached down to his foot, caught it with one hand.
See,
and kept
that's
running.
what I don't think people understand about him. Is like I don't know that I've seen that trait with anybody else.
Yes.
That I've played with or seen.
Yes.
Because his ability to catch the football just nonchalantly and
Yes.
just continue flowing into the direction he wanted to go
Yes.
to. You know, most guys would do that. They could catch it maybe, but they'd turn around, they'd fall down. It would look awkward.
Yeah, no.
Bro, the smoothest receiver I've ever seen.
So smooth.
Yeah.
And so, I'm such a fan
Yeah.
of him.
Yeah, he's incredible.
As a football player.
I love that.
I absolutely love him. Just
Yeah.
fearless,
Michael Crabtree.
competitive. Sorry, we just needed to take a second.
We just need to say, if
And
you haven't
shout
seen
out
Michael Crabtree, first of all,
Michael
go back and watch him in
Crabtree.
college.
Yes.
Then go watch the Raider cut-ups
Yes.
because elite level
One
receiver.
of the best receiver talents of our time.
Yeah.
And that's how we end the NFL offseason
Yeah.
with a shout out to Michael Crabtree.
Never.
Hey, man, I want to hit the Raiders to draft him in the first round. I was so shocked when the Raiders drafted Hayward Bay. Back then, I was just like, man, I couldn't believe it. Like, you got the best college wide receiver at the time on the board, pick number 7, easy money. We needed a receiver. We needed a weapon out there. We went with Hayward Bay. The rest is history. Mike Crabtree had a solid career with the 49ers. I think, they had really bad quarterback play. You know what I mean? There's a lot of things that were going on in San Francisco at the time. I think, you had Alex Smith early on in his career was not good. Then you get there, and then Jim Harbaugh comes in there, and I think he had a productive season when he first came there. But even then, that was a running offense, great defense. They ran the football. It wasn't an offense where they spread the football around, and so you can argue that affected him as well. But hey, I'm glad he came to the Raiders. It's another Raider that came to it's crazy. One of my favorite Raider players have played for the 49ers. You got Michael Crabtree. I put Mike Crabtree as one of my favorite Raider players. Jerry Rice, I'm not gonna lie. I respected Jerry Rice. When I seen what he did with the Raiders, I was like, damn, you're doing this at this age. Whole lot of respect to him. So when people say he's the GOAT, I don't even argue. I'm like, yeah.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
It's damn, you dominated for a long period of time, and you put in the work. The work ethic was crazy. Kind of like a Kobe in a way, you know what I mean? Like that type of mentality of competitor. But yeah, one of my favorite Raider players. But another former 49er that was one of my favorite Raiders. Had a short career with the Raiders, but it was Charlie Garner.
Oh yeah, Charlie Garner was clean.
Charlie Garner
was
man,
clean.
Charlie Garner was basically LaShawn McCoy-esque. You know what I mean? He was shifty, fast. The way he ran, it was like, I'm trying to break your ankles.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? There's certain players that run in a way where damn, it's clean. Ted Ginn was like that.
Yeah.
You could talk about Ted Ginn as a receiver, but when the ball was in his hands, it was damn, he's
monster.
He's a monster. One of the best returns man in the league. And man, when the ball's in his hands, he's taking it it seems like he's gonna take it to the house. He's able to he's shifty. That combination of being fast and also shifty. Yeah. Man, it's crazy combination. But yeah, Michael Crabtree, man, all time to me, one of my favorite Raider players. Him, actually, now that I think about it, I'm thinking about Jerry Porter, Denarius Moore, Ronald Curry.
Yeah, obviously
Tim Brown, Charles Woodson, Nnamdi Asomugha, Khalil Mack. I could go on and on.
Ted Ginn was my guy. I remember he come out of Ohio State. He was one of my favorite players. And ironically, when he was coming out of when Crabtree was coming out of, ironically enough, Texas Tech, Crabtree was one of my favorite players too. But he didn't run, and as soon as he didn't run the 40, I knew Al wasn't going to take him. So that year, I assumed we were going to take Jeremy Maclin. Because those were like the top two receivers. And people try to hate on. Like Darius Hayward-Bay was considered the third best receiver in that class. Like it was Crabtree and Macklin were the top two, and depending on kind of what you were looking for, you would have one of those guys.
What
Jeremy
year is
Maclin
that?
was a more athletic.
What year is that?
Oh, 2008? Is it 2008? Because McFadden was 07, right? Was McFadden 07? Or 08?
No. 07 was Jamarcus Russell. 08 was McFadden.
It was McFadden.
09.
And
09.
that had to be
09.
It'd be 2009 then. So Hayward-Bay was considered the third best receiver by most people's accounts. His height, weight, speed. I think Hakeem Nicks was like the next receiver after that out of North Carolina. He ended up going to the Giants. And there was another receiver. I think he played at Rutgers. I want to say. He ended up going to Tampa Bay. I always forget his name. But those were like the five guys that most people considered like first round picks that year. And then early on, Hakeem Nicks was like the best one out of all of them. And then like he super fell off. And then Crabtree started to pick up. Obviously Darius Hayward-Bay never really turned into what we kind of hoped he would be, or what the Raiders hoped he would be. Just because he just wasn't a natural football player. But
he was the worst. He was probably the worst out of all the receivers. Because I'm looking at Mayok's. At the time, Mike Mayock was with. I think he might have been with NFL Network at the time. And his top five receivers were Michael Crabtree, Jeremy Maclin, Hayward-Bay, Percy Harvin, Kenny Britt.
Percy Harvin's in that draft. Kenny Britt, there's who it was.
Kenny Britt. Yeah, Kenny Britt. Like Percy Harvin, better than Hayward-Bay. Maclin, better than Hayward-Bay.
Yeah.
Crabtree, better than Hayward-Bay. Kenny Britt seemed like he had like a cool little start, but then like
I'll give Hayward-Bay over Kenny Britt.
Let me see Kenny Britt's, because I feel like Kenny Britt made some plays, but then I don't think he had like a crazy career though. But
I want to say Hayward-Bay probably had a longer career than Kenny Britt. He probably had I think he had a longer career than Hakeem Nicks too. Was he more productive than those guys? Probably not. But he almost had 1,000-yard receiver, 1,000-yard season his like second or third year in the league. Darius Hayward-Bay. He had like 979.
Oh man, look, so Kenny Britt had 700. Then he was hurt his third year, came back 600, hurt again, then like basically 750, 681, 1,000 yards in his like. Let me see. Damn, he played until 2017, so he played for 8 years. 8 years, 2009 to 2017.
Yeah,
and he had 1,000 yards like his 7th year of his career. So he went out with a bang. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he's like, hey, look, just going to check this out. So look, we go now we look at Hayward-Bay. I don't know, man. We going to see special team stats.
Hayward-Bay had some cool years. He had some all right years. His first year was rough. I want to say his second or third year, he had like 900 something.
You said 900?
Like his second or third year, he had like 900 some yards.
Well, let's look at his college stats. No, I'm just playing.
Nah, bro, he's talking about his NFL stats, bro. Come on now. We talking about Kenny Britt. Come on, put his stats.
Because I remember them saying, like, damn, he only had, like, let me see, how many catches? Oh, it wasn't too bad. But it wasn't
his
like
college quarterback was ass, though, bro. Like, his college quarterback was terrible. It's one of the worst quarterbacks one of the worst collegiate quarterbacks I've ever seen in my life. But Darius Hayward-Bay didn't do the guy any favors, but his quarterback was trash.
All right. Let's look at Hayward-Bay. So his first year was just over 100 yards. Second year, less than 400. He had 366. Okay, his third year, he had 975. That was his best. 975. Then 600, 309, and then it's just little by little. But man, he could not catch the football. Like, it was like a struggle. How many years? He played 2009, 9 years. So one more year than Kenny Britt. So one more year, Kenny Britt, he had, let's see. Damn, I wish I didn't even exit out of that. But he had like a total of just under 3,000 yards receiving.
Kenny Britt got him beat then. Probably like Kenny Britt probably got like 5, close to 5. Sound like.
Oh, for sure. Kenny Britt has over 5,000 yards.
5, yeah.
So okay, so Kenny Britt had a 9-year career, and then Hayward Bay had a 10-year career.
Okay.
Yeah, but you know, tomato. It's not like Kenny Britt.
Neither one of them were world. Neither one were world. None of them were world.
Yeah,
beaters.
but
Crabtree ended up being the best.
But
Macklin had potential to be the best, but he just stayed hurt.
Mm-hmm.
I remember he coming out of Missouri. Coming out of Missouri, I thought he was gonna be cold, but he stayed getting hurt. Then he was with the Eagles, left the Eagles. I forgot where he went after the Eagles.
Kenny Britt. Let's see, Akeem Nicks, like you said.
Akeem Nicks with the Giants. He started out hot.
Yeah, I just wasn't a big Hayward Bay fan, but like I wanted Crabtree. Crabtree's one of my favorite Raider players, and like he was literally a number 1 receiver, like for the Raiders during the time that he was with the team. Like,
yeah,
you can argue like, oh, he had better chemistry, but like when they needed a big catch, they were looking for Hayward. They were looking for Crabtree. I think their big play guy was Amari Cooper. The more talented guy, the more explosive guy was Amari Cooper. But the guy that they trusted the most, I think it was Crabtree. He had hands.
Yeah, exactly. Not fact. Like you said, man, if they needed a third down catch, they were going to Crabtree or Jerry Cook, but most likely Crabtree. Bro, like how the hell Hayward Bay stayed for 10? But Hayward Bay was a hard worker, bro. Like he was just trash.
Hard worker,
hard,
probably good
team guy. He stayed all those years in Pittsburgh, bro. He was probably one of Tomlin's guys.
He said, check Jerry Rice post 32-year-old stats.
Oh, he destroying.
Yeah, I'm not gonna. That's this.
He destroying those dudes. Bro.
Yes.
He destroying those dudes.
Man, we've had it rough.
Bro, we've had it rough. Remember, we went all those years without a 1,000-yard receiver until we got Amari.
Someone said, how about Randy Moss, favorite Raiders? See, I love Moss, the player, the talent, but his time with the Raiders was kind of like
it's horrible.
It was terrible, and it was just the team was so bad. It was so frustrating to watch. Like we couldn't and this is early on. You see why the Raiders were so bad is because they were doing things that were ass backwards. You get a great player like Randy Moss, and you don't have a player to give him the football. What are we doing here? And you're giving up like, what did we give up? A first-round pick? You have a first-round pick for him?
We gave a first-round pick and Napoleon Harris, who we had just drafted like in the first round, like 2 years. But the thing was crazy about that's crazy though is because we drafted Napoleon Harris. What school did he go to? I forgot what school we drafted Napoleon Harris. But I think we drafted Napoleon Harris. Was that I want to say we drafted Napoleon Harris in front of Ed Reed. I want to say that was the guy we drafted in front of Ed Reed. I don't remember. We drafted Napoleon Harris in front of like a Hall of Fame player. I would think it was Ed Reed, but I'm not 100% sure.
Thomas says Zach Crockett or Justin Fargas. Lamont Jordan was good too. Man, Zach Crockett was like a short yardage type of specialist.
Monster in short yardage.
Yeah.
With the come through with the
Yeah. Fargas, he wasn't a bad player. It's funny. I just remember like my boys just clowning Lamont Jordan and Justin Fargas because they were like goofy in their own way. Like Justin Fargas, he would go 100 miles per hour and go straight. He would not make any cuts. He would run into like I'm talking about. It would be like a full-on car accident. Like he would not make any cuts. And I know there's different types of running backs. One cuts, like you know what I mean. Guys are shifty, but he would run straight. He wouldn't make any moves. It was just so funny. Lamont Jordan, it just felt like he was like super slow.
Super slow, bro. Super slow. Like you said, man, Justin Fargas was like fast as hell, but like he had no movement at all, bro. So whatever direction you give him the ball, that's where you going, bro.
Alfredo, man, I appreciate this post, man, for sure. Rod Woodson, definitely.
Rod Woodson.
Just respect out of that year that he had the 8 picks, which contributed to the Raiders going to the Super Bowl, for sure. Right. Okay, yeah, Jim Plunkett. Okay, he's before my time, and I didn't have a chance to watch him play. But hey, man, he won 2 rings.
Exactly.
Gotta respect it. Man, for sure.
Napoleon Kaufman.
Napoleon Kaufman was nice. Kaufman was nice. Ricky Dudley, right, was one of your favorites.
Man,
James
Ricky
Jett.
Dudley.
James Jett.
I didn't hate James Jett, man.
Yeah,
he was a deep threat. Okay. You know, that was his job, bro. He did his job.
But I mentioned Jerry Porter and Denarius Moore. Denarius Moore, Jerry Porter. Those 2 receivers, one of my favorite receivers on the Raiders, but they just they didn't really reach where I thought they could have reached. Like I felt like Denarius Moore could have been better. He was talented, but never really took that next step. Maybe that's the Raiders' development, their coaching, the players, the veterans that they had on the team. Like maybe that's the reason. And hey, look, it just didn't work out. But like with Porter, I thought he was going to be the next guy up. You played in a room with Tim Brown and Jerry Rice. I'm like, man, you got so many gems every time. Hall of Famers. You're right. Hall of Famers, so I thought he was going to be the next guy up, but that's the NFL's ultimate team sport. They got Jerry Porter.
What did Jerry Porter in was when we hired Art Shell. Remember him and Art Shell was beefing? I think he didn't show up. He didn't show up to Raiders, none of the Raiders voluntary stuff when Art Shell first got the job. And it was just all downhill from there. I think he might have been hurt the year before too. But yeah, Jerry Porter was a dog. I think we drafted him. I think it was the 2nd round. I know it was out of West Virginia. I don't remember if it was the 2nd or 3rd round. But yeah, he was cold. And he was my favorite. Tim Brown was always been my favorite Raider player. But Jerry Porter was I was bro, I thought Jerry Porter was gonna be just a monster. And like you said, it just never happened.
Randomly, he was in a doghouse with Gruden early on, and also he bumped heads with Art Shell too.
Yeah, him and Art Shell was that was really bad. Really bad.
They was beefing.
So I remember he was beefing with Art Shell, and they're I can't remember who it was that was doing the show because he didn't who was doing the story because Jerry Porter hadn't showed up to none of the Raiders off-season workouts, but then he showed up. Back in the day, dudes would have their t-shirts lifted up over their head, so it was just the shirt part, but you would see their abdomen, and then they showed a picture of Jerry Porter. And Jerry Porter's in great shape, obviously, he's an NFL player. He's all ripped and shredded.
Yeah,
they're well. I don't know if you should be taking workout recommendations from this guy and Jerry Porter. They show Art Shell. He's all old and fat. It's for this guy. I was well, damn. Damn. They doing Art Shell like this.
Damn. That's crazy. But that was, oh man, dysfunctional Raiders at their finest. I don't think some Raider fans don't know how long this dysfunction has. It was bad. We were hiring it's not as bad as I don't think dysfunction is as bad as it was back in the day. I think it was worse back. I think because we were hiring coaches that weren't coaches for years. Art Shell wasn't a coach. He wasn't coaching anything. He was just on his couch and and he just showed up. He was like, "Hey, what's up, Al? You trying to be coach?" Come on, man. The bread and bed and breakfast.
Yeah, Tom Walsh.
That was come on, man. Raiders were way more dysfunctional back in the day.
Yeah, I forget. I can't even remember who was our DC at the time. I can't remember who was our DC at the time.
DC at the time.
What was our DC then? It was
Chuck-
Tom Walsh.
Chuck Bresnahan or something like that. I don't know.
Was it Chuck Bresnahan? Was that Chuck Bresnahan? I remember it was a year that we like hired Chuck Bresnahan to be our linebacker coach.
Yeah.
And then we were trying to hire a defensive coordinator, but nobody wanted the job, so we ended up having to give it to Chuck Bresnahan.
Let me
And
see.
was that year?
Let me see. What year was that? Hold on. What year was that? That let's see. Okay. Oh no, that was probably 06, 05,
Maybe
06. 05 was
Probably.
North Turner. 06, well, 06 was ugly.
It had to be
2-14. 06 was 2-14. Oh yeah. I think yeah. Okay, so 2006.
Like 04, 05, because we had the number 1 overall pick because of our shell. So it was the year before Kiffin. So it had to be like 06.
Okay, so 2006. Raiders defensive coordinator.
Remember he brought like Remember they brought like Jackie Slater out of retirement. Jackie Slater. It was offensive line.
It was Rob Ryan.
It was Rob Ryan that year.
Damn, Rob Ryan, like he has a guaranteed job with the Raiders if he wants it. Like he's a lifetime.
Sure.
He's been with the team for years.
What's crazy is that I want to say, damn, was it that staff?
Wow.
I want to say I think we had Wink Martin. I think we had Wink Martindale on that staff.
Damn, yeah, we had Chuck Pagano as a secondary coach, and then linebackers coach was Don Martindale.
That's
Was Wink Martindale?
Yeah,
Yep.
Wink, yeah.
Yep. Damn.
We had Chuck.
Okay. We had some guys.
Yeah. We had some guys. Yeah. Remember that's why Chuck Pagano wouldn't take an interview with us because he didn't want to work for Al. Remember, we were trying to hire Chuck Pagano as a head coach. I want to say before he took the coach job, maybe. I guess you think Pagano was with the Ravens at the time, if I recall correctly. I think he's with the Ravens. And what's crazy is like Pagano and Wink I think they both went to the Ravens organization.
I'm looking at like because the average points that teams scored against the Raiders was 20 points a game. That's actually that's pretty good. But then I don't know how it was back then. Let me see what the rankings are. Damn, Raiders defense. Oh, Raiders defense wasn't too bad. Their offense was disgusting.
But know what? Nah, remember it was deceptive. Remember teams we couldn't score at all.
Yeah,
teams would just
run the ball.
They would score and just run. Remember Rob Brown was like, yeah, we got one of the best passing defenses in the league. Like, motherfuckers, people was throwing.
Yeah. No, that's
throwing on you.
That was some real shit. Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
So that's why teams wasn't scoring, bro. They get 14 points and they knew we couldn't do anything. So
bro, Monday Night Football, the Raiders that year, Monday Night Football, 27-0 against the Chargers. 28-6 against the Ravens. In a bye week.
I think is that the year that I think that's the year that
2-14.
LT, I think that's the year that LT had more touchdowns than us by himself as a team. LT by himself had more touchdowns than we had as a team.
Yeah, no facts. Yeah. Nah, LT back then was like destroying the Raiders. He had his best games against the Raiders.
Yeah, but I'm saying for that season, LT had more touchdowns that season himself than the Raiders had as a team that season.
Damn, we got shut out 4 times that year. 16 games. So a quarter of the season, we didn't score points. Damn. 16-0, 27-0, 20-0. Yeah, so it's like 3 games. My bad, 3 games. Yeah. Whew. Telling you, man. Some of these Raider fans, they haven't seen a playoff. I get that part of it. That's kind of disgusting. You know, we're like right behind them a little bit, but we at least seen some level of winning. Just a little bit. But as far as bad football teams, I don't think they've seen. These teams are bad. It's bad, man. But
Andrew Walter at quarterback.
Bad. Yeah, nah, man. I feel you, man. If they were back there, man. But I'm not gonna lie, that Vegas stadium is nice though.
Nice.
Ooh, that Vegas stadium is nice. It's nice. But yeah, man. If you haven't already, make sure to click and hit that like button, hit that subscribe, hit that notification bell. We're not done yet. What we got for notable quotables? We got next.
Next, man, we got Raiders. You know, talking about old people that used to work for the Raiders. Tom Telesco, Raiders former GM, he gave a little bit of insight, from GM perspective into how the Raiders are handling the quarterback situation, what he kind of perceives from the outside looking in. So it's a little bit of an interesting take for somebody to actually, have to make these kind of decisions at the NFL level.
Together for him, to have Kirk Cousins there, who's a legit veteran quarterback, that should be if you look at how he played last year, he should be able to at least sustain it. He's not going to play the way he played 5, 6, 7 years ago, but he's a legitimate veteran starting quarterback. So it does give Mendoza a chance whenever that may be, and they haven't made a hard decision on, hey, look, he's not playing this year, he's definitely redshirting, or they haven't said, hey, look, Kirk Cousins will just start the year and then we'll bring in Fernando at some point. We'll just kind of let it happen organically. And some may happen organically, just how well Mendoza plays in training camp and how well he practices. And it could be the opposite. It could be maybe Kirk Cousins doesn't play real well to begin the year. That's the only thing when you have a first round quarterback, and you're planning to not play him originally, that veteran quarterback, the first interception he throws, the first loss that they have, everybody is going to be yelling, well, just put in the first round draft pick, put in the number 1 overall choice, put Mendoza in and let him go. So you're going to have to guard against that because they're going to be up and downs with Kirk Cousins, and the offense is still being built out. I think it's definitely better this year than last year, but it still needs some upgrades, and you can't do it all in 1 year. But I think just organically, we'll see how it plays out. It could be in September, it could be in October, it could be later in the year. We'll kind of see. Or, he could win the job in training camp. I think that.
Yeah, kind of basically, kind of what we've been saying. Like the Raiders seem like they're doing things the right way. They got the right plan. They got a veteran quarterback. They're not forcing a young quarterback to go into a situation where, it's kind of obvious. Like we still need some things to figure out. Offensive line, run game, receivers. So they're handling it the best way possible. But once they start getting it going and everything starts gelling and the Raiders are running the football, then we can possibly see Mendoza at some point. Or like he has an amazing training camp. He has an amazing training camp, and it's like a Matt Schaub situation, and Cousins basically shits the bed, and Mendoza is just like basically he's showing up. But to your point, you made a point earlier, and I think it's true. I think Mendoza right now is number 3 on the depth chart. So they're like basically he's going to have to like beat out everybody that's in that. And it sounds like, oh, well, he's the number 1 pick. He should be able to beat Aiden O'Connell and Cousins. You got Aiden O'Connell, who's been there, done that. He's been in the league for a few years. You mentioned earlier he had probably the best, performance in the, mini camp. Then obviously Cousins been there, done that. He's a veteran quarterback, starter. He's had his success. And you got to factor in like, he's played in this system too. So that's another thing. You see a guy that's played this system, you be able to learn from him, be successful, all that good stuff. So everything, I don't know. I just feel like right now, I feel good right now. Feel good about the team. Not in a way where I feel like we're going to win hella games, but it's just like, all right, we're doing the right things. I'm not looking at it like, oh, the Raiders are dumb. Why are they doing this? Maybe, yeah, they could have added a player here. But, hey, look, the Raiders weren't a one-off season away. They couldn't really address every little thing. So I'm looking at it like, all right, well, we did what we can this offseason. Let's see if we can, have some success, develop some of the young players, have some of the players that were drafted, there are second-year players, young players, take that next step. That's another thing, too. Maybe we'll talk about, like, in the near futures, second-year players taking that next step.
Definitely. Just from outside looking in, it looks like the Raiders, they're taking the proper approach in terms of they're not trying to rush success. So they're not trying to push Fernando into a situation where he has to play early. They're actually letting him go through the growing pains, really compete for the job. He's said, based on his play and his own performance, he's sitting at 3rd in the depth chart. And kind of to be expected, where you got a guy like Kirk Cousins, who was a longtime NFL veteran, and then you got Aiden O'Connell, who was an NFL veteran. He's been in the league, multiple years, started games, so he's been a guy that's seen the NFL game before, so he kind of understands what it takes to be prepared for an NFL season. And he's gone out there and he's done what you expect a veteran quarterback to be able to do. So, like I said, I'm not expecting Fernando Mendoza to really play much, if at all, this year. It might be tough for the Raiders to do, but they may, like I said, they may have to designate Fernando Mendoza as the third quarterback, just so you don't feel that pressure of yank Kirk Cousins and put Fernando Mendoza in there. Have him the emergency quarterback on game days. Let Aiden O'Connell be the number two. And if it comes to a situation where, hey, you know what? Maybe if Kirk Cousins has to miss extended time, maybe then if you feel he's ready and his team has gelled enough, you can put him out there as a starter and Aiden O'Connell be the backup. But even then, like if he's still not ready, then you got to just roll with Aiden O'Connell at that point, until the season's finished, because we've seen it before where we put these players into these positions that they're not quite ready for, and every single time for us, it basically ends in disaster. So, when you invest the number one overall pick in the quarterback, that's a large investment, especially when you had an opportunity to probably trade back and get a nice draft haul. But you felt so confident about this guy that you didn't do it. So now you have to do everything in your power to ensure that he has success at the next level.
That's another thing too, that it's going to be interesting to see how they handle Mendoza when the pressure from I'm telling you, with each loss, I'm 0-2, 0-3, people are going to be screaming for Mendoza. 1-3, 1-2, let's 1-3, 1-4, 2-5, the fans are going to be screaming for Mendoza. They're going to be booing every chance they get, so it's going to be interesting to see how they handle it. It's good to have what did that famous Mike Tyson quote? Everybody got a plan until they get
hit in the mouth. Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like Mike McCoy says, "Oh yeah, we got a plan with Mendoza, but yeah, we'll see when you get hit in the mouth if that plan holds up, because it's gonna be interesting to see how they handle the pressure from the fan base, like every game, because they're gonna be booing Cousins if like he's not playing well or the team is not playing well with Cousins. They're gonna try to, because everybody wants to see Mendoza out there. At the end of the day, so. We'll see how that shakes out, but
but what could be like disastrous is if like everybody is like booing Kirk Cousins or booing the Raiders because they want to put Mendoza out there. Then we put Mendoza out there and he struggles. Like at that point, then where do you turn?
Yeah,
then where do you turn?
Yeah, no, and I'm not saying that they should give in. Like they should do what's best for the team and what's best for the player. But like, man, Raider.
Oh yeah,
this is the same Raider fans that Mark Davis was watching the game. They're like, bro. And I know this is a different version of the Raiders. Mark is not going to. He's put his trust into other people right now, and that means guys like Tom Brady, the GM Spy Tech and all that good stuff. So different version, but man, we've seen that. We've seen it happen in the past. We know how Raider fans get down. But
facts. But like you said, it's gonna be different this time because Mark gonna be too busy talking to his black baby mama. So he gonna have time. He gonna have time to.
That was like, man, that was a crazy picture. Well, I don't know. That was a crazy post.
It was the same post, bro. Insane post.
Like what are you implying?
Exactly.
Why is that? Why is that post include your new? I don't know. It was just hella random.
It was ridiculous.
Bro, like they had no connection. Like the only connection that we could think of, like, oh, that's his son.
Exactly.
Oh man, that was Mark, man. But Mark, I don't think Mark had nothing to do with it. It was just her. she was trying her best. She's like, "Hey, Mark, I heard you don't have an heir.
You don't got no kids.
You ain't got no kids. How about I make this post so everybody can see it and assume, you know what I mean? But it is what it is, man. But if you haven't already, make sure to click and hit that like button, hit that subscribe, and hit that notification bell. We're not done yet, man.
Know what? Look, I don't cast no aspersions. Mark might have a thing for pregnant women, man. Remember before that girl? Remember before he was talking to? Remember before he was seen at the game with the girl, and then the girl ended up pregnant. It's not Mark, it's just some other guys. Remember that? It was like the young, pretty, like little white girl, and it was like, oh man, is this Mark Davis's baby? And they're like, nah, it's not. It's somebody else. You remember that?
I'm trying to remember.
Bro, she was sitting at the game with Mark. Everybody's like, then she had a post. It was like she's pregnant. Everybody's like, oh, it's Mark. It was Mark. It's Mark's. But then she came out. So it showed the guys who it was or whatever.
Right.
Like, man, Mark, why are you kicking with all these women that's like pregnant, bro? Like, what's going on, dog?
Yeah. Mark is living his best life, man. He's living.
What you doing, Mark? What you doing, dog?
Mark is living his. I'm telling you, Mark is living his best life in Vegas. Got a new haircut. You don't got a bowl cut no more. You got a fade.
Nah. Yeah, it's a little different. It's slightly bowlish in some areas, like the line. But it's not the crazy bowl that he had before,
bro. Mark is in his. I think he's in his 70s, right?
70s, I want to say, yeah.
So at this point, like when you're in your 70s, you're not gonna give a fuck, bro.
Do what you want to do, bro.
I don't think
70-year-old billionaire.
Respect to all OGs out there, man. When you're 70s, you don't really. I mean, you're gonna take care of yourself. You're gonna you're gonna do what you gotta do. But I could understand where Mark could show up at the game in sweats if you wanted to.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
And I don't think anybody would say anything. They'd be like, "Hey, you're a billionaire. You can do whatever you do whatever you want to do. You're 70 years old. You know what I mean? Like."
Al Davis is rocking them velour suits, bro. Like, what's
yeah, Al is a whole different.
I velour, but the swishy shits was there. You hear Al Davis coming.
TK, you out of pocket. Yeah. You out of pocket, man. It's a possibility. I don't know. Who knows? That being said, we're not done yet. We got what's real, what's not. What's our statement this week, Severe?
For sure. So our statement this year, and I think it was Waltman in the boiler room. I think he kind of started off the topic, and we kind of found it interesting. But who will have more all-purpose yards or Marion Hampton, fellow first-round drafted running back from last year, or Marion Hampton, who plays for the Chargers with Jim Harbaugh, Mike McDaniel, and we all know the Justin Herbert and everybody over there. Mm-hmm. He will have more all-purpose yards than Ashton Jeanty. So Marion Hampton, running back for the Chargers, will have more all-purpose yards or more rushing and receiving yards combined than Ashton Jeanty.
So year one, last year, he got hurt.
Yeah.
Which kind of ruined his momentum in the season. And he was playing well, too. The Chargers got a better offensive line than the Raiders. Better overall skill position, yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I don't think they have a dominant... Well, Ladd McConkey's pretty good for them. I know the receiver, Quentin Johnson, for a second looked like it might be a miss, but he's kind of turned his career around a little bit. Like, he's looking like a player. Man. I feel like Jeanty could be used. I think he could play pretty well under Clint Kubiak, but I just feel like Hampton's situation is better. And who's really behind Hampton? And you know Harbaugh wants to run the ball. And Mike McDaniel, he's gonna like work with him to figure out a way to incorporate the run game. And Mike McDaniel's he's not opposed to running the football too.
Exactly. He was the guy that was the run game coordinator.
So I'm gonna say it's real. I think Omari Hampton's gonna have more all-purpose yards, but that doesn't mean that Genty won't play well. It's just I'm betting on like, all right, yeah, you guys got a great offensive line.
Yeah.
They had injuries last year too, which is classic Chargers.
Yeah, that too.
So, yeah, I'm taking Hampton. I'll go with Hampton.
So it's just tough because, like you said, I think if we go by the model that Seattle ran last year, it was like a 65-35, maybe even a 60-40 split between K9 and Charbonnet. If we're anywhere close to that, then I don't think Genty gets anywhere near enough touches. And who was Hampton? Who was really his backup? Don't really know. I think they have Vidal there still. But outside of that, like, who do they really have? The one area, there's two areas I'm thinking about. First area is injury. We all know that Hampton was injured last year, and Genty wasn't. But if you kind of use the logic of regressing to the mean, the fact that Genty was healthy all of last year, it means it kind of increases the chance that he gets hurt at some point this season. Just because when you get that many touches, you play running back in the NFL, running backs are prone to get nicked up. So does he miss time? Does Hampton miss time again? Then Genty, I think Genty is a superior receiver. But just on the ground, with Mike McDaniel, that offensive line, I got to give it to Hampton. I think it's gonna be close though. I think it'll be close.
Yeah,
but I'm gonna give it to Hampton.
Well, we'll see. We'll see if the Raiders' offensive line can get together, they could get that run game going, and Ken Kubiak could be in his bag calling plays. Man, it's gonna be interesting because it's a situation with the Raiders where it's Brock Bowers, and then you gotta factor in Genty in the pass game too as an option.
Yeah.
Because you don't have your receivers is like limited, so you got to give your best players a football. You got to find a way to get your best players, and your best players on offense is basically Bowers and Genty, and then everybody else. Yeah. So that's what Genty has going for himself, is that he's going to have that opportunity, and then you got Clint Kubiak basically name dropping Christian McCaffrey, and they're basically giving you a clue on how they want to use a guy like Genty. They want to utilize his full skill set and, receiving out the backfield and running the football. So it could possibly be Genty, but, man, I'm just betting on all right, well,
yeah,
the offensive line, we don't know how long is that going to take to gel?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, we got to figure out some things. Yeah. But the talent on that Chargers offensive line is like, come on. They have one of the better O-lines in the NFL. It's kind of a known fact right now. And on top of that, you got to factor in that Hampton is probably going to get the ball a lot, because I don't think there's anybody outside of Keaton Mitchell that can basically take away his touches on offense. And Keaton Mitchell, respect to his skill set, he's like a speedy back. Could probably be a third down guy, maybe, possibly, but I think Hampton is the guy, especially if he stays healthy. So it's close, man. I think this is a good one. I know people in the chat is like, money. He said Hampton ain't shit. Nah, he was playing well. What you mean? He was playing well. He had like a pretty good game. I think he ran for 100 yards one of those games, right? Before he got hurt.
Yeah, he did.
If the Chargers offensive line stays healthy, yeah, it's true.
Yeah. Same thing we said about our offensive line too.
Oh, okay. We got Miami Dolphin fan here. NJ Finn's in the building saying we're more all-purpose yards week 1. A-Chain or Genty?
I'm actually go Genty that one. might actually go Gentry that one. So I don't know what I mean. Devon A. Chain. I mean, that's another thing. We saw what Mike McDaniel was able to do with Devon A. Chain, and he had Devon A. Chain was a monster when he was healthy. He was cooking, and I think he did with Mostert too, right? I think that's the year Mostert went crazy in terms of touchdowns. So we know what Mike McDaniel does to a run game. But I'm thinking, Mike McDaniel not being there, and then Clint Kubiak being over here. And like I said, I think we make a concerted effort week one to get Genty involved, whether that be via the passing game, the sending them out on swings, running back screens, and then obviously, him running the football. I think he gets it, gets the edge for week one out of those two guys.
Yeah, and then we don't even know what the offense is going to look like for the Dolphins week one. Fins, I know you've been paying attention to the team in the offseason. I'm like, man, they traded away Waddle. Who's going to be the guy that's going to be leading away from that standpoint of they got problems out there too. So you could expect the Raiders probably going to go all in on stopping A-Chain. They're probably going to force them to have someone step up in the pass game. So we'll see. I think that's a good one too. All-purpose yards, A-Chain, because A-Chain is one of the better running backs in the NFL too. Established, been doing this for a while now, or for a few years now. Yeah. But hey, man, if you haven't already, make sure to clock in at this point. Clock out, hit that like button, hit that subscribe, and hit that notification bell. We kind of went a little bit over time. We was trying to keep it short today, man, but you know how it is, man. We love coming on here, chopping it up with y'all. Talking about the Raiders. We talked about all types of topics today, man. So, like I said, off-season edition show. We talked about the Raiders, NBA, man, flags on the play, appreciate Durant just saying what he's saying. It just makes it easier for us to just talk about how Durant is really he just consistently makes himself, and he's just a guy that people always give him a hard time on social media, especially because he literally does it to himself with the burner accounts and he actually argues with people on social media.
Oh yeah,
he be going back and forth. It's hilarious.
It's crazy.
It's hilarious. Crazy. It's funny, man. But Severe, man, let the people know where they can find you, what to look forward to, all that good stuff.
You guys know what it is, man. The Severe Raider here on YouTube, Snapchat, TikTok, X, IG, Kick, Twitch. True Social, everywhere, man. It's Severe Raider. Holla at your boy, man. Tuesdays and Thursdays, my dog PharoahNFL, the 50-50 show and Around the Shield. We doing some things, we revamping Around the Shield, man. So, y'all just stay tuned for that. Some big changes coming.
Yep.
And then Wednesdays in the Raider Roll Room, my dogs, Chris Protect Shield and 805 Raider. Make sure you tap in with your boy, man. Like the video, hype the video, hit the subscribe button, and until next time, man.
Yeah, man. Appreciate everybody pulling up. Durant's here. Yeah, that's well documented, man. That's
the brush, bro. When you're rich, man, look. Mark Davis got away with that bowl cut for years, bro.
Yeah.
KD forget.
It's like they trying to make a point. They're like, hey, man, I can do whatever I want to do. You know what I mean? But
wherever I want.
It is what it is, man. Yeah, we'll be back. Hopefully, we'll be back out later this week. If not, catch us next Tuesday, 50-50 show every Tuesday Around the Shield. Like Severe was saying, we're revamping it, making it's the off season, so schedule's kind of different from the regular season, right? So, but stay tuned by hitting the notification bell. If you haven't done that already, you'll be notified when we go live, drop new content, all that good stuff. Also, give us a follow all over social media, including Around the Shield on IG and on X, all that good stuff. And yeah, man, we appreciate everybody pulling up, man. Till next time. Any last thoughts, Severe, before we head out?
Nah, man. We gonna see, man.
We gonna see. All right, y'all. Peace.